Hey guys, it's Simon from RLM Motorsport. Today we have the final round, which is Barcelona. So this is round 10 today. So this has been a very long Season 2 championship for us. So that's been 20 weeks this has been running for. So running down to 17 drivers tonight, unfortunately. We had about 5 sign-outs for the last round. So hopefully we might get a few more people in before the race starts, but at the moment only got 17 for tier 1. So we've got 5 tiers running, so I don't know how the numbers are doing there, but we have got Jesse who's streaming tier 2 on his YouTube channel, so I'll get one of the guys to put the link in the description if you want to check that out. But yeah, that's the only 2 streams that we're running tonight, so just T1 and T2 will be streamed tonight. So it'll be myself, Simon commentating, as well as Ryan. Hello Ryan.
Hello Simon, it's great to be here for the last round of the championship here in the lovely Circuit de Barcelona.
Absolutely, yeah, it's a pretty awesome track there. And also we've got George Smith with us. Hello George.
Hey, how's it Simon, how's it Ryan? Good to be here again.
Absolutely, yeah, so pretty awesome to have you in the box. So yeah, so we've got 3 of us in the box tonight. Commentator's curse as usual, so we ain't going to say too much because obviously we want everyone to obviously have a pretty good race. So if we do have our votes on who's going to take the race win, probably they're only going to lose in, so we won't say anything because that's just the way it goes. Yeah, so anyway, we've got 17 minutes left to practice. We've got 15 minutes qualify, and then tonight is a 90-minute race, so there will be 1 pit stop around sort of the halfway mark, depending on when they take it. So yeah, so it'll be in for quite an interesting race. What I'll quickly do as well, I will just put up the standings on screen for you guys so you can see the current standings. So there we are at the moment. So Palomira is currently holding P1, Steve Strader P2, we've got Chris Hoke in P3, James Parker P4, David Martins P5, Kevin Scolari P6, Sammy Ratz P7, Mike Noble's P8 there. So yeah, got quite a few, so it's going to be very interesting to see what's the point at the moment. So, yeah, Palomira at the moment is currently up with the leader with 194 points, with Steve Strado 167 points. So we're looking at 37 points behind there. So even if Steve Strado takes a win tonight, unfortunately it looks like he's going to hold P2. Chris Hoke with 152 points. So he is 15 points behind Steve Strado. So as we see at the moment, Steve Strada is currently P9. So the guys only get 1 point per position in our round. So we make sure that everyone that's racing gets a point. So obviously we have, when we actually set this championship up, because Zandvoort only had pit boxes for 26 cars. We set up each tier to only hold 26 cars. That's original how we did it from 20 weeks ago. So yeah, so the point system was literally 26 down to 1, and then you get an extra point for the fastest lap. So that's obviously where it can start to mix things up a bit. So yeah, so Chris Hoke really, I mean, unless Steve Strado gets a DSQ or something, gets no points, then Chris Hoke could take P2. James Parker is only 5 points off of Chris Hoke at the moment with 147 points, with Chris Hoke 152. So this is going to get quite interesting with these guys at the moment, because James Parker is currently P2. And we see Chris Hoke there in P13. So yes, this could get quite interesting. So James could end up taking the podium for the championship off Chris if the race goes well for them. Looking a bit further down on this as well, David Martins is currently joint 4th with James Parker as well with 147 points. So this end round could be very interesting to see what's going to actually materialise from it. So David Martins, he is currently P4 here, so yeah, it could be very interesting here. So we could have a couple of people fighting for the overall P3 podium for the championship tonight, so it'll be quite interesting. Kevin Scolari, who's currently P6, he's 142 points, so he's about 5 points down. So he's currently P3 at the moment in the practice. So this is, again, he's going to probably have to ask for a miracle really to see if he can gain any more positions from his current P6. So yeah, so what's your thoughts tonight then, guys? Ryan and George, what are you hoping for tonight?
Well, I mean, I'm just hoping that for the last race of the season, we're going to have as exciting as a race as we've had all the way throughout the season, to be fair. I don't think there's been any races in particular we could say have been dull or boring. They've all kind of exploded into life, you know, around the last half an hour, or like we had at the Spa race where it was just, you know, non-stop action. So just hoping we can round off the season on a high with a good, exciting race. But I'm expecting, you know, maybe the Ferraris and the Porsches to do quite well here tonight compared to the Porsches that didn't do quite so well at Hungary 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, I mean, from my end, I think that I haven't really been able to join you guys in the comms box for all your races. I have been able to catch a couple of the streams when they've been available on my time. It's a little bit late for us, but always good to join you guys when you are broadcasting. So I think Barcelona is one of those tracks that does allow for some of those on-track battles as well. Nice flowy circuit. Any sort of mistakes with the braking markers or braking points just allows other drivers that opportunity to get on by. So yeah, from my side, I think it's a great final round to come to Barcelona, especially when you come into that final chicane. That is just a place that, yeah, it can catch drivers off guard, and you can just make such a big run coming down that start-finish straight.
Yeah, absolutely. So I enjoy it. Barcelona is one of my favourite tracks, actually. I do really enjoy this. So it's definitely favoured for the Ferrari. As we can see, Patrick Selva P1 currently. He's the one that's only broken into the 143s. Actually, there's a few guys actually in the 143s now. So quite interesting to see. Yeah, I guess we're going to have to see what's going to happen for the next sort of 90 minutes of the race. Like I said, this is all still practice. We've still got 12 minutes of practice. So again, we got the 15 minutes qualifying. So yeah, it's just really going to see what's going to happen here. But we see Giardio is currently in P2 at the moment as well. So he certainly says he absolutely hates the Porsche. He's not doing too bad at the moment. I say that as he's just being pushed down to P3 at the moment with Patrick Selva P2. So yes, it's going to be very interesting. I was hoping to get a few more guys in tonight, but unfortunately we are down to 17. So it does make my work a lot more easier having to change the cameras and stuff. Where obviously when you've got 50 cars on the track, it's a lot harder to try and keep up with all the battles going on. So thanks to follow the guys, really appreciate them. Do keep them coming. Tonight we are streaming to both YouTube and Twitch, so if you're also watching on YouTube, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe, and if you're following on Twitch, don't forget to follow us there. And obviously Amazon Prime customer, you can obviously subscribe to us for free. Much appreciated. Thank you very much. I will just say as well, we have got another event on Sunday as well. So we've got the Lamborghini ST, so that's going to be quite a fun event. So we've got 30 cars. We've got 2 splits actually with 30 cars in each. So we're going to stream the split one on Sunday. So that's going to be 8 PM. So it should be quite forward for that. So that's going to be out in Monza as well. So that's going to be quite interesting. Just thinking what else we've got coming up. So we've got that. Next Friday we've got the 1.5 hours Suzuka race. We've got 3 splits running with that one as well. So that's going to be again a 90-minute race across the 3 splits. So again we're going to stream obviously split 1 there. Saturday we're looking to do a real drivers race again like we did last Friday. So we've got that coming up as well. So hopefully get a few more guys in. So yeah, guys, don't, if you can, just go in obviously to let anyone you know that's a real driver and stuff like that, YouTubers and stuff, get them involved and obviously get them signed up to this race. So that's going to be at Silverstone, and that's going to be running about 3 PM BST then, because the clocks do go back on no, it is. Confused. Yes, it is. Sorry, yes. So BST. Sorry, the clocks do change this Sunday. That's right. Yes. So 1 o'clock in the morning GMT. The clocks change to BST in the UK, and then so yeah. So next Saturday it will be 3 PM BST, British Summer Time, or 4 PM CEST. So anyway, so have you guys at the moment got any sort of favourites? Who's going to take tonight's spot? Are we going to curse them yet?
No.
Well,
Ryan, you go first. I want to see who you curse first.
I'll get it out of the way.
Hockey.
I'll gladly use the commentator's curse, as I have. I seem to have mastered the art in the recent weeks. I think Patrick Selva's going to do very well here today, as he always seems to do well in qualifying. So he's always a name to put up the top there. I did say that last week in Hungary, and then he didn't have a very good race at all. And I also did give a lot of credit to Luca Lossio 2 weeks as well, 2 weeks ago, and he had a very bad race. So hoping Patrick Selva probably has a bit of a better race this time round. I'm a bit of a Ferrari fan, so a bit of bias in there maybe. Interesting to see how Giardia will do. He's up in P3 at the moment in practice, but still half a second off Kevin Seclari.
Yes, he was. Yeah, he was literally drifting around the corner as it literally just got panned onto him then. Say that now he's just gone to P4 as Prenter is now taking P3. So
Yeah, so I'm gonna use a little bit of bias in my votes as well. Definitely big Porsche fan. So pretty lucky that I've got Jardia piloting one of those, and Saklari piloting the other. So yeah, those are those are definitely my two men to watch out for. And I'll also give a shout out for Veal down in 17th. He's also piloting a Porsche, so
Yes,
I can't just break the bias and not support him. So I'm hoping that he makes his way and cuts his way through the pack.
absolutely. Yeah. I mean, to be honest, Christian Veal did pretty well in Season 1. He's 14th place currently in Season 2 Championship. But he has obviously had a couple of missed races, which obviously put him a bit further down the leaderboard. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see what he's doing. But say, looking at his times right now, he's about 2.4 seconds off the pace at the moment. But we've just got a new joiner coming, so we're now up to 18. I was hoping this would get at least 24 in tonight. But we have got a few reserves there, so we might get a few more reserves joining. But yeah, still got just over 7 minutes 20 seconds to go until the the qualifying starts. So yeah, 15
I was
minutes.
gonna.
Yes, score.
Sorry, I was a bit too eager there. I was also, we were talking about numbers and hoping for more. Maybe a lot of these guys just skipped out on the practice side and they're ready to bang in on quali side. So maybe a couple more will join up. I'm sending it out to the good Karma Lords out there to race us with some more maybe. But if not, 18 cars racing around Barcelona, that's a pretty good race to watch.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, obviously, a lot of people obviously having internet problems as well. I mean, take our Friday stream. Unfortunately, our main stream went down because of Steam decided to kick us out, which was never good. And it took us a little bit, about a good sort of 10 minutes to get back on again. But yes, unfortunately, I guess because everyone's obviously sat at home, obviously everyone is using the internet. So a lot of people are struggling with their streams, and a lot of the places like Twitch and stuff are obviously struggling to make our stream sort of run smoothly as well. So guys, if you are seeing any type of like jitter or anything going on or should I say anything on the stream, just let us know. Might be just worth you just trying to bump the resolution down to 720 or something. That might save the buffering. But yeah,
I think Twitch servers are pretty loaded up on things, so
absolutely,
some of the stuff might just be on, a lot of these servers are getting loaded with people trying to get their fixes.
Yeah, very true. So, yes, also our Redline guys, I mean, they can't wait to hand the keys back to this car at the end of this season. They've absolutely hated the Aston all season. They haven't done that well. I say they haven't done that well. I mean, we've got Chris Hokie, or Hookie, how you ever want to pronounce it, in P3 at the moment of the current championship, and we've got James Parker in P4. And what's actually Samir who's actually P10 in the championship overall as well, who's currently P10 on the leaderboard at the moment. So yeah, these guys, all Tamron said, they can't wait to hand the keys back for this, and then they can pick something better for Season 3. Saying that, our Season 3 is not going to start until about September, so we're looking at Q3 when we actually start that back up. But that's because we actually have opening up our endurance championship. So we've got 6 rounds endurance championship with teams. So we've got teams of 2. We have 100 spots available, so that's going to be run across 2 servers. So we'll have two servers running there with 50 cars in each. So and that can obviously be 200 drivers total taking part in that race. So there is still spaces on the website. So do head over to redlinemotorsport.co.uk and you'll be able to see that here. Yeah, once you sign up to that, guys, our website is all integrated with Discord. So as soon as you sign up to there, it will take your Discord profile, link it all on our website, and then yeah, it just makes everything easy then for us. Yeah, so that actually starts. The first round actually starts, I believe, the 24th. Is it the 24th? I think it's the 24th of April, the actual round 1. But we've got the pre-qualifying to go first. To obviously set the qualifying for these who's going to be in what. Also, we are going to be splitting the 50 teams into classes as well. So you're going to have your Pro-Ams, your Pros, and your Am classes all together. So we're going to look to split like a 17, 17, and 16. That's going to be in both servers as well. That way, then, rather than just having a whole group of 50 cars battling trying for P1, you've actually got 3 groups in that one server trying to battle for a P1 in their class. So just going to make it more interesting as well, and just bringing different talents into each server there. So yeah, if you do feel up for it, guys, do sign up to it. I'm sure there'll be guys up waiting to obviously team up as well. So that is only an 120 minutes a round per round. 120-minute race per round. So as I said, that's over 6 over 6 rounds, which is about 12 weeks, but it is bi-weekly for that one. Just a quick look here. So at the moment, yeah, Patrick Silva still getting close now to even break the into the 142, so 143.1 at the moment. So as I was saying earlier, I think the Ferrari is definitely well, the Ferrari was made for this track, wasn't it?
Well, I mean, if you ask all of the guys from the championship, they'll tell you that it was mainly made for Hungary, because they did very well at Hungary. It has to be said.
Yes.
It does run very well here as well. I mean, there's only one very long straight where the Ferrari, it doesn't struggle on. Well, you know, compared to like the Aston Martin, which does seem to struggle in a straight line, but you know, the Ferrari doesn't struggle as much, but the Ferrari definitely comes into its own in the final sector. Some nice twisty, slow corners as well, and of course that chicane. So the Ferrari does run very well here, so you would expect them to be further up in the top. But as we say that in practice at the moment, we have only 2 Ferraris in the top 10.
Yeah, so obviously I haven't seen too many Ferraris being run at Barcelona, so it's interesting for me to see them being so dominant. So listening to you guys talk about it a little bit, I'm not a big Ferrari driver. Ryan, you said you're a bit of a fan. Does it have a good sort of acceleration, can just kind of carry speed, doesn't really need to scrub too much off, and you can just pilot it around quite cleanly? Is that really the theory with the Ferrari, not really needing to rely on a top end, just kind of carrying momentum through the corners?
Yeah, it's I've always looked at the Ferrari as kind of it fits this jack of all trades kind of role, where it doesn't excel or dominate at any particular kind of circuit. It runs very well at Hungary, as we already established. But of course, that's mainly because of all the very slow and twisty corners, which seems to benefit the Ferrari's aero and the way the car is designed, its balance and everything. So yeah, it's it doesn't need to depend too much on its top end. For example, a circuit like Spa, where you would run a bit of a lower wing sometimes to get a nice long run and a high top end across the Camel Straight. The Ferrari doesn't really need to do that, because it can set itself up to be a bit more downforce focused and gain all that time back going down the hill at somewhere like Spa. And it's kind of similar here. The Ferrari doesn't need to sacrifice its downforce for the massive main straight that we have here at Catalonia, because it can make up so much of that time in the final sector.
Yeah, it's you're right. It's not really a big factor in what the Ferrari needs to do, that top end. And that straight that's there, I mean, it does give you sort of an opening opportunity coming into T1. But if you can be more stable and secure around the rest of the track, that's definitely going to benefit you in the long run. So thanks, Ryan.
Yeah, absolutely. So it's 5 seconds left to practice, and we should be straight off to the qualifying shortly.
Now this is where it counts. We've just been watching what drivers have been doing through their practice session, which is always fun to see. You get to run through the driver lists and see who's doing what. But when those quali setups get loaded, it's a completely different ball game, and I'm very excited to see what times the drivers post going into quali.
Yeah, I mean, obviously you can see it's going into the evening here, so track should be cooling down, track temperature stuff. So we are actually 35 degrees. That's during the practice, so we'll wait and see what happens when we change over to the qualifying in a minute. Still a couple cars out at the moment, so hopefully they'll be jumping back in a minute.
One of the things that will be interesting to see is, will we have a scenario that we had similar to a couple of other circuits earlier on in the season, which is have some people hit their peak too early. We talked about this on a couple of different occasions where, you go out and you spend so much time in practice that when it comes to qualifying, you can't replicate the lap. And of course, there are changes in conditions as well, but it's very rare that we see a drastic change in conditions between qualifying and practice. But as I say that now, when we come into qualifying, it is quite a bit darker, because qualifying taking place at 7 p.m. local time.
AM.
At 7 a.m. is it?
It is in the qualifying, yep.
Oh, I thought it was 7 p.m. Oh no, it is 7 a.m. 7 p.m. for the race. Sorry. So yeah, taking place at a different time as well will kind of have a bit of a factor in there, but it's important to not hit your peak before qualifying because you want to save your best for qualifying.
Yeah, absolutely. That's the thing, like I say, is trying not to peak too soon, isn't it? So, I mean, one of my rule of thumbs is I always go out with a full tank of fuel, and I literally just practice with that whole tank rather than go straight in with quali fuel and practice with that. That's where a lot of drivers do make a lot of mistakes doing that sort of thing, because then, you get your best times with obviously low fuel, and if you practice like that, when you come to the race with a full tank, it just completely throws you off. So, yeah, still obviously some good tips there for sure. So, yeah, Palomiria is currently the first out at the moment, so he will be the first to complete his warm-up lap. So we will stay with him and we'll jump on board with him shortly.
And it has to be said, I mean, he's only won one race this season, Palomiria. One at Brands Hatch, I believe it was. He's had 3 podiums in total, one at Spa and one at Zandvoort. But his consistency has been quite incredible. Never finished outside the top 10. And he has an average finishing position of 4th.
Yes, he has. That's right.
Which is, I mean, with some of the names that we have, obviously, in this tier 1, that is incredibly impressive to have an average finishing position of 4th place.
And I think that's quite important in these kind of league races, is that consistency side of things. If you don't have to always just be in the top 3 and finishing first or second every now and then. If you can just rock those top 10 finishes consistently race after race, you really do just rack up the points. And yeah, I think a lot of drivers kind of struggle with that element of sim racing. I think consistency is something that you have to practice and drill in, and a lot of guys just want to jump out, set hot laps. They want to be the quickest, the fastest to their mates, and they often forget about that consistency side of things, and how important it is to have good races, race after race.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, I'll quote James Parker quickly on something with his video of Chris Hay, which is that there's no point being 3 seconds a lap quicker for 1 lap and then being 1 second slower than everyone else for 5 or 6 laps. You lose all that time that you gained over 1 lap. So, the consistency element of sim racing is probably one of the most important. I mean, yes, it's important to be quick if you want to compete at the top, but the most important thing is that you have to be there, and you have to be there every single race. And Palomaria's been able to do that this season.
Yeah, absolutely. So we're starting to get some lap times in now. So Patrick Silva is quickly at the moment. We're 1:43.45. Jardia following P2 at the moment, 1.5 tenths off the pace at the moment. Luca Lossio currently P3, 2.4 tenths off the pace. So we're starting to get some good times in now. I mean, this is as always with our races, no matter what, usually the last sort of couple of minutes, especially into the overtime of qualifying, that's usually when we get usually the top 10 get really mixed up. So we'll see how this pans out. I mean, we've actually got 19 cars on the track now, so that's not too bad. So we're a bit two more on from what we was earlier on during the practice. So unfortunately, a few guys flying out, a few people with internet problems and stuff like that, unfortunately. So it is what it is, but at least we're still here to finish the final round. So fingers crossed we don't have any problems with our stream. So far we've been good.
Yeah, and as the first round of qualifying lap times start to come to a close, most of the field having set a lap at this point in time, probably about 7 people still left to set a lap. The quickest man at the moment is now Kevin Siclari, 1:43.0, so we're getting close to the 1:42 territory. And if we have a quick look back at practice, it was Patrick Silva who topped the timetable with a 1:43.1, so that has already been bested by Kevin Siclari.
Yes, that's right.
David Martinez in the Aston Martin, he's just slid himself into second place there. We haven't seen an Aston Martin in our practice kind of have a whiff of those kind of positions as it gets taken away by Silva in the Ferrari. Just, taken away. The commentators I'm sorry, Aston Martin drivers, that was my bad.
Yeah. See, commentators curse, you see. As soon as you mention that, it was just like, boom, taken off him. Get the P2, bang, straight down to P3. Yeah, unfortunately, like I said, our guys, I mean, Redline guys here at the moment, our esports drivers, I said they're absolutely hating on the Aston this season. They've had literally 20 weeks of this car. Like I say, they just can't wait to hand back the keys and hopefully have something new for the start of the next championship. So
the thing about the Aston, Simon, that I found is that it's actually quite a good car to throw someone in if they're new into the game, right? You give them the Aston, it's great to pilot around. Most of the setups on every track are, pretty easy for them to get around, but it just doesn't have the real oomph that some of the other cars have in the series. And yeah, it just does not suit the quicker drivers. They can't get the max out of it. It just feels like it's almost BOP'd a little bit too much to make it an entry level car and make it a bit friendly for people.
Yes, I mean, for example, Steve Strelo, who's currently P9 at the moment, he was our overall championship winner for season 1. And again, I mean, he's the same. He's not happy with the car. He can't wait to hand the keys back. Yeah, because unfortunately for season 2, the Aston hasn't been that much good fun for him. So it's a shame to see them obviously so far down the board compared to what they are in the normal cars. I mean, season 1 again, Chris Hokie, I mean, he was absolutely flying in that Lambo. He was absolutely flying at Paul Ricard because he was using his special zero wing on the Lambo, which is just absolutely insane. But the speed he got on that. Yeah, go on.
Zero wing on a Lambo is just madman territory. Like, you're loving the straight, but everywhere else you're just Twitch Nation.
Absolutely.
I mean, credit to anyone who can pull it off, to be fair, because I mean that car, we've already established it earlier on this season. It tries to murder you at every opportunity it gets. I mean, the Lamborghini it's quite a monster. It doesn't take lightly to anyone with an inability to drive the car. I myself have driven it in quite a few occasions recently, and it is quite a monster to handle at times. But going back to the Aston Martin talk just for a moment, I spoke to James Parker. It was about a week ago, and I asked him what was it specifically about the Aston Martin that they didn't like, and the kind of consistent answer amongst the esports drivers was it's too slow out of the corners, and it just doesn't have the top end to compete with any of the other cars.
Nah, that's it. Steve Strada at the moment, he was 1/10 up on his time, but I don't think he's going to get it. He seems to be even right now. But yeah, I mean, like I said, just looking at the times right now, I mean, Samir at the moment, nearly 6 tenths off the pace in the Aston. But saying that, if we can see David Martins has managed to get, 3 tenths off the pace there, so we definitely know there's still another good 3 tenths in that car for Samir. It's just you've got to try and put it all together and get that perfect lap. Steve Strado unfortunately didn't improve that time round, so he did lose that 1/10 he was up by, but again he's currently up by 1/10 now, so I can't see him. He could, if he holds it, he could actually gain a couple positions here, so he could actually get up to P7 if he does maintain this pace. Patrick Selva currently is currently up by 1/10 as well in P2, so he was, but it looks like he's just gone even again. So we just have to see what happens here for the next sort of 5.5 minutes. I have to say, I'm so used to obviously having like 50 cars on the track to commentate on that, you just literally flat out all the time. I feel quite relaxed with only 19 cars on the track. It's just quite easy to manage.
Oh, you've done it now. You're going to get a chaotic race where you won't be able to capture even half the action. You've really gone and jinxed it now.
Yeah, absolutely. That obviously reminds me as well. On the 11th of April, we have our Super Pole ready for. This is going to set the grid for our 12-hour Suzuka race we have on the 18th of April. So do check that out. We will be streaming that Super Pole. So we're literally going to have one car on the track at a time. So one car's going to go straight out for a warm-up lap, then set their fast lap, and literally as he starts his fast lap, the next car will go out and do their warm-up lap, and then literally they get one shot to get their lap time in, and then that will be the set grid for the 12-hour race on the 18th. So we're really looking forward to that. So
That is absolutely, that's an insane format. I love that you've done that.
absolutely, we thought we just have to really sort of mix it up. It's going to be very interesting. So I guess everyone's going to be trying to get their best lap in, but also play safe as well, that they don't obviously mess up. And because again, it's only a one-shotter. So if they don't succeed to get a good lap on that first lap, or they go off track and unfortunately invalidate, then obviously they're going to start at the back. So yeah, it's going to be.
I've experienced that. I've done a Porsche Cup car series that had that as a qualifying event. Imagine one lap in a Cup car. Ryan, you could appreciate that, the Porsche Cup car. So I think that's a great shootout format, Simon.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, this is what I mean. We thought we'd go this way. Also, we're going to sort of allow people to be open to strategies as well with the pit stops. So this is where we obviously want people to be sort of, rather than just running engine map 1 in most of the cars, we want people to obviously start to think about fuel saving. We're going to sort of limit the tyres as well, so there only be a certain amount of tyres for the race. So we obviously want to make this as sort of as realistic as we can. Just see one of the cars gone into the wall there. I don't know who that was. So it looked like one of the Astons within the wall, I believe. It's going to be interesting. So Samuel Ratz at the moment is currently up by 3 tenths at the moment, so we'll stay on board with him at the moment.
I think the car that you saw going into the wall there was actually James Parker.
Oh.
So James Parker is in 9th place at the moment, just under 7 tenths off of pole position. But Patrick Silva top at the moment, 143.005. We're so close to the 142s.
I mean, first to 14th position is within a second of each other. That is absolutely nuts.
Yeah, I mean, we'll take for our Friday race with the real racing drivers and esports teams and obviously YouTubers and stuff. The top 25 of that race, everyone within 1 second of each other. So if you guys haven't seen that video, go and check it out on our YouTube channel. It is there, and also it's on Twitch as well. Unfortunately, it had to be in 2 parts due to a technical problem where Steam decided to go down and it took my stream out and everything. So we lost about 5 minutes of the race, but we did get the stream back up for that one. So yeah, go and check that out because that was absolutely awesome. 50 cars there at Kalami, and yeah, it was lap 1 is probably the cleanest you're ever going to see it with 50 cars on. I mean, it was very impressive. Yeah, I mean, hopefully, obviously we've got the next driver race coming up this Saturday. Sorry, not this Saturday, the Saturday after, the 4th of April. So hopefully we're going to have the same sort of results with that one there at Silverstone. So yeah, really good race to watch, guys. Do check that out. We had Chris Hayes in the commentary box as well with Jesse, and they did an absolute fantastic job with the commentary there. So yeah, really good.
Simon, I loved watching that race, by the way. I had it up on the big screen, and Kyle Army, that's my home track. So
yes.
For us, it was a super race to watch with the real life drivers. I can definitely +1 that recommendation for people to go and check it out on the YouTube channel.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's one of our best videos we've produced so far, so hopefully more to come. So yeah, we've got Chris Hay again and Jesse in the comms box for the Saturday the 4th as well. So yeah, it's going to be an awesome event to watch. Just yeah, I said again, there's still a few more spots available, so if you guys know any sort of esports drivers that are good and clean, then do get them involved and we'll get them signed up on the list. We'll put them on the short list and then we'll go over it and then add the drivers who will be taking part. So looking down the board at the moment, I said it's a bit quiet at the moment. Christian Manu currently P13 is up by 1/10. So if he does gain this, he's going to gain a position here. So Chris Hookie is not doing too well at the moment. It's only P12. So I said, again, he's obviously really feeling it with this car. But then he's been doing a lot of practice ready for Sunday's SRO race as well at Monza. So yeah, he's got a couple of races on Sunday to do himself. So he's going to be racing at Monza and Kailami as well, because they've got the SRO and the AK Informatica race going on. So,
just looking at the moment, it's quite a gap, isn't it, between obviously the top 2 at the moment, the guys sitting provisionally on the front row. A good 0.3 of a second between them and David Martinez and Luca Lossio, who sit on the 2nd row. So Kevin Seclari and Patrick Silva in a bit of a small league of their own at the moment in qualifying.
That's it, yeah. So we're just going into overtime now. So this is why we get a few things mixed up. So Kevin Scalari is currently up by 1/10 in P2 at the moment. So he could end up taking the top spot here off the qualifying. So we will just probably jump over to Kevin Scalari quickly to see roughly where he is. believe he's actually just behind Christian Manu, so he might just hold off a second. I just see Kevin Scolari is equal with his time at the moment. I also see
he's just lost time.
Yeah, he has
slid through turn 9, and unfortunately that's lost him a lot of time, and he's going to have to park the car.
Yeah, unfortunately, Giardia was up by a tenth a minute ago as well, so we'll just stay with him and see if he does actually maintain this pace. Looking like he's pretty even at the moment.
He's peeling into the pit lane. He doesn't have the pace, it seems. Kieran Prenter. Sorry.
Yeah.
He was up by 1/10 of a second. He's on the back straight at the moment. He's down by a tenth of a second now, though, on his time, and he has backed out of the lap. Having said that, Patrick Selva did go quicker on his final lap, and he did hit the 1:42s.
Wow, look at that. So just see 0.004 of a second off of the 1:43 there. So just broke into the 1:42. So awesome stuff. Yeah, like I was saying, I mean, the Ferrari is definitely suited for this track. So in for an awesome race by the looks of it, guys. So there's your lineup currently for the qualifying. We'll just wait for it to transition over.
Interesting, of course, that, I mean, obviously the Ferrari definitely suited to this track, but only 2 of them in the top 10. And of course, championship, tier 1 champion at the moment, Paulo Moya, 7th place, a bit lower down than where he usually qualifies. And of course, the likes of Christian Manu and Raffaele Dinardo, they're usually in the top 10 as well. So they haven't had the best qualifying, not up to their usual standard, should we say.
Yeah, that's right, yeah. So what we'll do in a minute is I will just put on the nice video that Ryan's made for us. So this would be a bit track guide to Barcelona or Catalonia, whichever you want to call it by. So we will be back shortly.
Welcome to the Circuit de Barcelona Catalunya, located 16 miles north of Barcelona. The 2.89-mile circuit, built in 1991 and last changed in 2017, has 16 corners and a lap record of 1:43.667 set by Mercedes in 2018. Plenty of overtaking spots here, the best of which is in turn 1. Down the long main straight come a pair of twisty corners, giving you some good opportunities. Accidents are also quite common around here. Through turn 3 is a highlight, as the fast, long right-hander means small mistakes can have big consequences. And finally, turn 10, a great overtaking spot for many, but also a graveyard for others. Overtakes and mistakes aplenty here on the back straight.
So there we are, guys. Right, so Ryan's going to put us quickly through the lineup of the cars here. So I will just run down the order here. So here we go, Ryan.
Okay, so our pole sitter for the final race of the Season 2 Championship is Patrick Selva with a 1:42.996. Lining up alongside him on the front row, we have Kevin Scolari in the Porsche. On the second row, it's David Martinez and Luca Lossio. Third row has Jaroslav Honzik and Samir Ibrahimi. 7th place goes to the Tier 1 champion, Paulo Moya, and he's got the Aston Martin of Kieran Prenter alongside him. It is James Parker and Steve Strello on the 5th row of the grid to round out the top 10. The rest in order are Raffaele Dinardo, Christian Manu, Chris Hooker, David Planiol, Christian Veal, Samuel Ratz, Victoria Thompson, Julian Sorp, and Marcel Pfister rounds out the grid for the final time this season.
So there we are, guys. So just under 2 minutes 25 seconds now to go before the start of the race. So we have a full formation lap. So the guys will get into single file. They'll start weaving and braking, get the tyres and brakes warmed up, ready for the race. And then when they get round to the second to last corner, the leader will slow down, get everyone back into double file again, and then the leader will take them around the final corner up to the start finish line. And when the lights go green, it will be go, go, go. So let's hope for a nice clean race. We've only got 19 cars on the track, so I imagine T1's going to be nice and clean. I mean, if you took the first round of this season, Monza, I mean, we had Monza in the rain with 30 cars on the track, and every car went through T1 without touching each other. So that's how you do it. So yes, that's the sort of expectations we expect here with Redline. You know, so we do punish people very harshly with penalties and stuff like that if they do cause collisions. So you know, in a day, the number one rule here is to stay clean and fair racing. So,
and of course, it's. I was just about to say it's something that's a bit overlooked, isn't it? As well in racing, it goes for real life racing as much as sim racing does as well. Is that keeping yourself out of trouble? You are guaranteed to gain places, essentially. You know, staying out of other people's accidents, you know, in of itself is a skill of a racing driver. So, you know, you'd be surprised how many positions you can gain over the course of, you know, a sprint race or an endurance race by just, you know, keeping your nose clean.
Yeah, absolutely. So, as we've got the order set, so who are we going to think is going to take the pole today? Who's everyone's bets on?
Well, the poll, I think, has already gone to Patrick Selva.
I mean, for the actual finish of the race, not obviously the qualified.
I think, I think realistically, the pace that we've seen, I mean, Patrick Selva looked very, very good in practice, but so did Kevin Seclari as well. So, you know, I think it's got to come down between one of those two. I unfortunately inflicted the commentator's curse on Patrick Selva 2 weeks ago, but you know what? I'm feeling that the commentator's curse is not as powerful tonight. So I think Patrick Selva, maybe he can round off the season with a well-deserved win.
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, 3 seconds ago, and then we start the full formation lap. As someone's just posted in there about social distancing. Yeah, we are pretty much different parts of the country, pretty much. So we have got George.
Even the world?
In the world, yes, yeah. We have George, as I said, in South Africa. We got Ryan, who's North England. We've got myself in Southwest England. So, yeah, we're definitely keeping away from each other and getting the coronavirus.
I would taking the term social distancing to an extreme here at Redline Motorsport. Not even allowing each other to be within the same county, and never mind, you know, the same room.
That's it, or same country even in some cases there with George. So here we are, guys. So start of the formation lap. So we've got an hour and 30 minutes race, so there'll be one pit stop in there as well. So it'll be really interesting. So everyone has to have a mandatory pit stop.
Well, you know what, Simon?
Go on.
It's that time again. You've done it to me. I've got to ask you, who's your money on tonight?
Ooh, this is going to be a tough one, isn't it? As I know, the Ferrari is going to be so good here. I mean, if Patrick Selva does get a good start to T1, then I think he can take the win tonight. So, obviously, every time we do say things, we do curse the drivers and something does happen. So just bear that in mind, guys. So we don't mean to obviously put our curse on him, but it just happens.
So if I want Seclari to do well, I must then root for Silva. So you guys have given him your bad juju. Seclari, I'm not voting for you at all, /S. So I've made it so that he can now bring it home for the Porsche. The bias will come through all the time. You'll hear it a lot.
Absolutely. So, yeah, welcome to the stream, guys. As I am streaming to both YouTube and Twitch tonight, so hey to you guys in the chats. I can see you both in one chat box, but yeah, we've got quite a few people in Twitch at the moment. There's a few of you in YouTube, but yeah, obviously it depends on what platform you prefer to watch. Yeah, it's all for you guys to obviously enjoy. So we've got 90 minutes of the race to go with again one pit stop. So this is where it can be really interesting with the pit strategies, because we have seen this plenty of times with Samir. He's been very good with his pit strategies, getting out and usually gaining a couple positions from this, as we found out from the Spa race he did. So yeah, it's going to be very interesting. Yeah, because Samir did get pole at Spa, which was quite surprising because he was a good sort of about 17 seconds down, wasn't he, off the leader, and the leader had to pit on the last lap, which was really bad, unfortunately. So Samir ended up taking the win. But anyway, the guys are getting into double file now, so they will be starting to come around the last final corners to begin the race. So yeah,
and don't overlook Luca Lossio as well, by the way. The sole Mercedes on the grid here tonight. He is incredibly quick, though, so do not underestimate him either.
Yes, absolutely. He is very quick in that Mercedes. So we'll see how this pans out.
Just a quick word in there on that. I mean, with so many cars on the choice list, there is a very limited number of manufacturers here. So I'm keen to see what this shootout's like.
Yeah, this is interesting. I mean, when we first started the championship, the loadout was a lot different. We had, quite a few different cars in, but obviously over the time, as I said, this championship's been going over for 20 weeks now. So anyway, it's green, it's go, go, go. So we'll see what happens here. So it looks like Scolari's got P1 already with Selva going back into P2. We've got Luca Lossio coming down as well to take P2 off of Selva as well. So this is two positions lost by Selva already. So Scolari is holding P1 right now.
Yeah, Patrick Selva did not get the getaway that he needed on the start. Obviously, Kevin Scolari, the Porsche, getting great traction from the standing start. And of course, not standing start, rolling start. The Mercedes of Luca Lossio capitalising on that as well, though. So Patrick Selva's given himself some work to do, but he knows that the car's quick around here. He knows that the car suits this circuit, and you know that he'll have some good opportunities later on in the race. The only thing he might struggle with is he going to be able to get past that Mercedes in a straight line down the main straight, even with the slipstream?
Yes, absolutely. So, as we were saying from the beginning, guys, if we say someone's going to win, we curse that driver, and then look what's happened. Paul Selva, unfortunately, has lost 2 positions off the start line, and now obviously we've got Scolari in the lead. So, yeah, well done, George, for not rooting on Scolari, so he ends up getting the position. I'm
still not rooting for him, just so that everybody's aware. But I'm not happy for the way that the race started for him. He's done a pretty great job to secure that opening start, and hopefully pull a lead on that Mercedes. That's doesn't even look like it's bothering him at this stage. He's got a little bit of clean air.
And I've just seen, sorry to cut in there, I've just seen at the back of the grid there was a bit of contact between Julian Thorpe and Vicky Thompson towards the tail end of the field, going through turn 11. So unfortunately for Vicky Thompson, a season that has not gone very well for her already has kind of continued into the final race of the season. Julian Thorpe did not gain a place in that, though. He waited for Vicky to regain the position, so some good sportsmanship there.
Yeah, shame to see that. That was lap 1 incident, so unfortunately Vicky, it was actually caused the incident, so unfortunately when I tried to get the replay, I flicked back 10 seconds and unfortunately didn't capture the actual incident itself.
I didn't see the entire incident, but given the fact that Julian Thorpe slowed down to give back the place, I would imagine that probably makes him the guilty party, but I don't know. I haven't seen the full incident. I will have a look through the replay and
let us know what's happened there.
on.
So that's going to be interesting for the final results as well, because obviously lap 1 penalties are double penalties here at Red Line. So unfortunately, it can be very, very harsh. So if she ends up getting 4 points for that incident, that's 4 positions lost overall from this race. So yeah, very harsh. So that's what I mean. We are very harsh with these penalties, and we expect very clean and fair racing. So no matter who you are here, so even our own guys, unfortunately, do get the same treatment. So
yeah, just had a quick look through there, and it was Julian Thorpe who went into the back of Vicky Thompson. So that would be why he gave up the play.
There we go. Right. Okay. Yeah. So what you were saying, George?
Yeah, Prenta and Moya are starting to get themselves into a nice little scrap here, with Parker looking to capitalize on anything that they manage to find between each other. I've been watching them for the last, couple corners, and Prenta seems to find some good pace out of that Aston Martin to close the gap down right behind Moya as they come through the first sector again. But this time around, it looks like Prenta's not quite on the same mark. But Moya and Prenta in P7 and 8, they've been battling it out. And I think Parker is looking to capitalize on that as soon as he can.
Yeah, absolutely. So, yeah, see how this is almost looked like Prenta is going to go back in the back end of Mura then, just has become through T1.
Yeah, just something to note on. I was watching Patrick Selva just for a moment along the main straight, and he was in the slipstream of the Mercedes of Luca Lossio, and he was still losing time to that Mercedes in a straight line. However, Now that we've come into the second sector and heading towards the third sector, Patrick Silva is going to start to claw that time back. So Patrick Silva ideally needs to get past Luca Lossio towards the end of Sector 1 or early in Sector 2, so he can kind of put that Ferrari's pace to use to stop Lossio blasting past him on the straight.
Yeah, so at the moment, the guys that are pretty close at the moment is David Martins and Jardim for P4. We've also got Steve Strado on the back end of Parker as well, so we'll stay with this. Look like a little bump there between him and Parker. So no positions gained, so just a little love tap.
Yeah, and Donato is also on the money there to try and get involved in that little train of action. So drivers literally not even a car's length between them as they just fly through that chicane section. A beautiful sight to witness.
Yeah, Steve Strello just reminding James Parker he is there. So, you know, keeping him on his toes, well and truly. But as we look down onto the main straight now, Patrick Silva 0.4 of a second behind Luca Lossio, so he hasn't lost too much time going down the main straight. He gained about half a second, I think it was, on Luca Lossio over the course of the last lap. So it's going to be interesting to see how he can put that to good use now that he's only within 0.4 of a second of the Mercedes as we come into the part of the track where the Ferrari will have the advantage.
Yes. So we'll just jump on board with Silva just then, because I just literally jumping through the tower at the moment, because there's quite a few people within sort of 0.4 of each other, so we will be jumping back and forward with the camera to see if we do get any action at the moment. So it looks like Pentra is currently on the back end of Mura, so we'll just jump back over to him quickly to see if anything's going to happen there. Nothing at the moment, so yeah, thanks for the follow there, guys, really appreciate it. Do keep them coming. I said we are streaming to both YouTube and Twitch today, so if you're watching on either platform, don't forget the like button, follow, subscribe. And if you obviously are an Amazon Prime customer, you can subscribe to us for free on Twitch. So that helps towards our service costs and stuff. So please do that; it'd be much appreciated.
Yeah, these onboard cameras that you're jumping through of the drivers, you just see cars in the windscreen just everywhere, and on their little onboard dash rear view cams, you just see cars too. So the train of cars just continues to lap around here, and their pace is just, they're keeping on the money. Everybody, if one mistake is made across the pack, you will just drop down the order at this point in the race. So everybody under pressure. You're looking to try and find a position in front of you. You're looking to try and defend against the guy behind. It's absolute madness for the final round here at Barcelona.
Absolutely, yes. So Pentra again is closing the gap in only a couple of tenths off of Mura at the moment, with Ferrari in front. So we might get an overtake in a minute.
Yeah, I was just looking at in front, Kevin Scolari. What a start he has had. The only man to lap in the 143s so far this race, as we're only just under 10 minutes into the race. He has a 2-second lead out in front at the moment. He's doing incredibly well at the moment. Patrick Silva still within 0.4 of a second of Luca Lossio. So he's still keeping Lossio very keen, but it's clearly evident that Luca Lossio cannot live with the pace of Kevin Scolari out in front at the moment.
Well, I mean, that's also one thing, right? I mean, that's going to benefit Scolari the entire way. If Lossio and Silva just continue to scrap it out behind, you're going to have to go defensive. You're not driving at the pace that you want to do. You've got your rearview mirror full of pressure. So Scolari will just love the fact that P2 and 3 are fighting it out behind him and letting him get that fresh air up front that he really would like to just keep extending things out and start working on what he wants to do for his pit strategies later on in the race.
And just looking at it now as we come through the chicane, Patrick Silva right on the back of Luca Lossio as they come out of the final corner. Patrick Silva onto the main straight is going to be much closer to Luca Lossio than he has been over the last few laps. He is going to have the slipstream benefit, but it's not going to give him enough of a difference to challenge the Mercedes into turn one. Patrick Silva's going to have to find a way past somewhere else on the track, because that Ferrari just does not have the straight line speed to get past the Mercedes, even with the slipstream.
That's where, I mean, it was quite evident what you were saying earlier in where the Ferrari kind of lacks out is definitely on that front, that top end. And Silva, has been struggling to find that way around Lasso. He's making that Mercedes as wide as possible and defending that inside line wherever Silva kind of puts a nose. So great defensive driving coming out of Lasso, and Silva needs to, like you said, get that move done before they get round past that final chicane and onto the start-finish straight.
Yeah, absolutely. So going through some interesting battles at the moment. So we've still got a few guys very close to each other. I mean, this is the main thing. We've got, you know, tier 1 drivers here, some very, very fast drivers taking part. So unfortunately we couldn't get the full grid in tonight. I guess a few people had a few connection issues and stuff like that. As it looks like Silver is continuing side by side, but it is going to put it back in behind.
No way around the outside.
No, it's unfortunately not.
That is absolute bravery to try and stick the Ferrari around the outside there. You've got those danger sausages on the exits as well that can just unsettle the car. So Silva just trying to change things up, trying to, you know, get all over Lacio's rear view mirrors. Lacio is going to feel the pressure from Silva, it feels like, for the entire race at this stage.
Yeah, of course, pit stops are going to play a massive part in this as well. You know, how are they going to play the pit stops? You know, are they going to take tyres? We've seen some people don't take tyres in these endurance races, and, you know, sometimes it doesn't really work out, sometimes it does. And then, of course, there's fuel loads as well. You know, are some people carrying heavy fuel and others carrying lighter fuel as well? So that can definitely play a massive part later on.
Yeah.
To me, Silva's almost... Sorry, Simon, for cutting you off there. But Silva's almost in that position to really consider the undercut on Lacio for his pit stop. I mean, he's struggling to get past him. It's going to be on all their minds. You don't want to pit and find yourself in traffic and losing time there. I love the pit strategy side of things, so I'm excited for when that time rolls around.
Yeah, absolutely. So again, this is going to get interesting to see when people actually do jump in. I don't think it's actually a pit window set. I think it's literally open to when they actually pit in. I'll have to double check when we obviously get closer to the time. But yeah, again, they've only got to take one pit stop, so when they take it, again, it's just down to them. So some people might actually do a 50-50 split, other people will obviously run with a full tank and maybe actually pit at the hour mark, or even the last sort of half hour of the race. Yeah, we have to see what actually materialises here.
Just a quick mention on the RLM esports drivers at the moment. Samir Rahimi sitting in 6th place at the moment. He's got quite a gap between himself and David Martinez, about 1.7 seconds. Of course, James Parker sitting in behind Kieran Prenter in 9th place at the moment. But Chris Hooker and Vicky Thompson not doing too well. Chris Hooker all the way down in 15th place. Not too sure what's happened to him so far this race. Of course, we know Vicky Thompson had an incident with Julian Sorp, and as I look down the grid now, Julian Sorp is no longer in the race, so I'm not too sure what's happened to Julian Sorp, but he has retired, and the same goes for David Planiel, so I'm not too sure what's happened to those two guys.
Yeah, I see on my highlights list a bit further down, car 59 accident, but it looks like it's maybe just himself and went into a wall. So this is interesting. We'll jump back over to Patrick Silva again because they are almost side by side.
Oh, trying to go around the outside there of turn 4, just not quite going to have the pace over the Mercedes. I mean, it's definitely evident that, you know, this is the part of the track where the Ferrari has so much more pace than the Mercedes. But it's just unfortunate for Silva at the moment that Luca Lossio is doing an incredible job defending.
Yeah, he's just parking that car on the inside apexes every single time. Silva just being forced round the outside and trying to do it again as they come down. Yeah, a little bit of go-karting, rubbing his racing going down there. Still keeps the pace. Yeah, that Porsche now going to be hungry to capitalize on anything that Silva lost. Like you said, this is going to just be an intense battle throughout the duration of the race. These drivers forming up a train that just seems unstoppable at the moment. They just continuing to slug it out, and what a great race we have so far. Still only, we've got an hour and 16 minutes of racing remaining. Pit stops still to come. Plenty of action. Yeah,
absolutely. So unfortunately, we are down to 17 cars again. I guess, again, obviously a lot of people are having connection issues at this this unfortunate time of events. But yeah, so anyway, the main thing is we still managed to get a few guys into finish off the final season of this season 2. So again, this is obviously round 10. Obviously this was a bi-weekly championship. This has been going on for nearly 6 months, or even 5 months actually. So 20 weeks this has been going on for. So in a way, it's good to see it come to an end, obviously, because then we can start something new, which we have. We have got the Endurance Championship starting, with the qualifying starting next week. So that will be all next week of qualifying. So this will then put everyone into their own classes. So again, we've got room for up to 200 drivers. So we're going to run 2 servers with 50 teams. There are 50 cars in each server, and then there's going to be teams of 2 for that one there. So if you guys want interested in taking part, then do head to our website. It's on the overlay. So it's redlinemotorsport.co.uk. Yeah, head there, and then obviously you can sign up, and then sign up your teammate as well, and then we'll get you in and go in for the qualifying, and then obviously then we'll put you onto the list, and then you get to find by your average times of the qualifying which class you actually be in. So we will be running 3 classes in that race. There'll be Pro, Pro-Am, and Am. So yeah, depending on which one you're going to be in. So this is where, rather than having 50 cars fighting for the podiums, you're going to have 3 classes fighting for podiums in each class. So this makes it more fun and interesting, rather than having 50 cars trying to battle out for the same position. So Patrick Selver
is all over the back of Lossio going through the chicane, and Lossio's got wide coming out of the chicane as well. So that's compromised the Mercedes exit. Now this could benefit the Ferrari, of course, because that means that Lossio hasn't carried the speed he would usually carry. Looking at Lossio's lap times as well, he's into the 45s for race pace, having to defend from Patrick Selver. He's dropping a second a lap at the moment.
Yeah,
for Kevin Siclari.
I'm just watching the helicam as well, because I've got it on dual camera at the moment for the stream, and you know,
contact!
Oh no, that's not what we want to see, unfortunately.
Patrick Selver into the back of Luca Lossio, and gonna have to have a look at the replay there to see.
I will put it back up onto screen so we can actually see that clearly. So that is such a shame to see that happen.
I wonder if it's just that the Ferrari carried so much more speed through turn 3 than the Mercedes. I don't think he expected to catch the Mercedes mid-corner. But he's definitely gone into the back of Luca Lossio. Yeah, there's no doubt about that.
He's just literally just hit him and carried on. So, yes, Mira, unfortunately, so Selva, it's going to be getting points for that, unfortunately, because he hasn't given the position back. So he will get maximum penalty points for that, unfortunately. So, yeah, shame to see, obviously, that happened to Luca Lossio there. So, I mean, that was a pretty awesome battle going on. But as you can see through the helicam at the moment, we've got a lot of cars pretty close together at the moment. So, again, we're still near an hour and we've still got an hour and 12 minutes to go of the race. So, a lot can happen. And generally, with these races, we have literally the last sort of 10-20 minutes of the races. We usually get to see the top 10 really get mixed up with position. So, just seeing Jardia there almost drifting around the corner there. So he's really.
Oh, Jardia's gone wide actually, coming in. He's gone. Chicane, and that's allowed David Martinez to have a bit of a run on him. He cut off a bit on the second part of the chicane, but Jardia was definitely lost some focus there. I don't know if he missed his braking point or something coming into the final chicane. But what that has allowed is Samir Ibrahimi, Luca Lossio, and Paolo Muia to go right onto the back of them now. So we have a chain of about 5 drivers for 3rd place at the moment.
That's it. So yeah, welcome to the stream, guys. George, someone said hi to you there as well. So someone else from South Africa.
Hello, fellow South Africans.
There we go.
A great scrap of racing for everybody to witness. And
Jardia,
he's had contact with Martinez.
Jardia, and that's allowed.
They have time.
Yes, and that allows Samir to get past.
Like 3 cars wide.
So David.
Samir Ibrahimi's going to have a look at Luca Lossio. He's actually going to get the move on Luca Lossio. Slight contact, not enough to warrant any serious investigation, but Luca Lossio is going to want to try and get that back, but he's not going to have the pace. So, slight contact between Jardia and David Martinez. David Martinez backed off, obviously, to not gain a place on Jardia, and that's unfortunately cost him 3 places.
Yeah, that is
Poya gets on through as well. So Prenta also going to be having a look-see on Martinez, and it's always like that mental thing after an incident as a driver. You kind of get rattled, right? So everybody behind you is now kind of looking to take your mistake and make it their gain.
Yeah, very true. I mean, it's like I said, you know, with our races, especially the last sort of 20 minutes of the races, things really get mixed up. I mean, if everyone can stay this close in a train as we can see, you know, 20 minutes into the race already, then we're going to be in for an absolute awesome finish to this season.
I'll tell you what, Samir Brahimi might be in 4th place at the moment, but he's got a big problem in the fact he's got an incredibly powerful Mercedes right behind him. We've already talked about the Aston Martin and how it struggles in a straight line. Luca Lossio right up behind him in the slipstream. He's going to have the inside line, but he's not going to brake quite late enough to get past the Aston Martin. Samir Brahimi very good on the brakes. Going to go a bit wide into turn 2, but he's going to be able to carry the speed through turn 3, and he keeps the position. Very well done there by Samir.
Yeah, and Lossio trying to go wide through that fast right-hander has let Moya just close that gap down even more in the Ferrari, and he's just had a great consistent race, just taking places off drivers that have, you know, had little errors in their driving, and Moya making his way up the pack. Currently in the 6th position, and gonna trouble Lossio, I think, if Lossio gets caught up behind how do I say that? Ibriami?
Yeah, Ibriami, yeah.
Ibriami.
I think something else that we have to quickly mention, gentlemen, is that with all the accidents and little nudges that we've just had going on, I think it's 4th place all the way down to 15th is now only covered by about 5 seconds.
Yeah, there isn't a lot in there, is there?
It's an incredible chain of cars we've got at the moment, all following each other. So, like you said earlier, you know, mistakes can mean so much. One small mistake, you could easily find yourself losing 4 or 5 places at this rate.
Absolutely, yeah. So thanks for following there, guys. Do keep them coming. So we are streaming to both YouTube and Twitch today. So most of our viewers are on Twitch at the moment. So if you've got any questions, guys, do obviously post them in the chat. If you want information on what's coming up, our next events and stuff, do obviously post in there. But we have got our 12-hour race coming up on the 18th, with the Super Pole will be on the 11th, which will define the grid order of the start of the race. So that's going to be pretty awesome to watch. We're going to jump over to Lossio again, because he is right on the back end of Samir again. He was one of the relatives, but maybe it's just lied.
Yeah, he was close, not as close as he was last time out, though, so I think Samir had a bit of an easier time defending.
Yeah, so everyone at the moment, they're all sort of, everyone's pretty much bunched up at the moment, all within sort of like half a second between each other. It's pretty intense so far. So still got an hour and 8 minutes left of race. Everyone's still got to do a pit stop. So again, this is where things can really get mixed up with pit strategies, because as we were just saying earlier on, we don't know who's taking a full tank of fuel, who's only taking half and doing a 50-50. We don't know who's going to be doing a splash and dash and who's going to be taking tyres. So we have seen this before, where some people that have taken tyres do obviously get the advantage there and take obviously better positions. Who knows? We have to see. A lot's going to happen. This is obviously the final round, and we're very excited to see who's going to actually take the podium tonight and take the final podium for the championships.
I'll tell you what, if you ignored the timing board on the side of the screen and you only looked at this train, you would assume this is the first lap of the race.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah. This is the formation lap, guys.
Yeah, I don't often get to watch races like this. I mean, when you're going into the pits at this stage, I mean, you don't even have to worry about coming out midfield in traffic, because everyone's gone on by you, because everyone is so close to each other.
So, yeah, guys, if there is issues with the stream, it is going to be down to Twitch and that, so, you know, just bear with that. Unfortunately, if you are seeing like a stuttery stream, it's not our end, it is literally the Twitch servers and YouTube servers usually causing problems at the moment with the high amount of people streaming these days, obviously because everyone's stuck at home. So all I suggest is it's obviously just down the resolution down to probably 720p or so, and that should help any problems you guys do have. Obviously,
yeah, Simon, also if on the Twitch end the encoding side isn't working entirely, viewers I think on the YouTube side always get better encoding options, especially if Twitch is overloaded like it is today. So if you guys are struggling on the Twitch side, check out the YouTube side and see if that's maybe a little bit better.
Yeah, absolutely.
I was just watching on the main straight. Steve Strello pulled out from behind of James Parker to see if he could lose the slipstream that Raffaele Dinardo was getting off of the Aston Martin. And it was quite amusing because everyone behind Steve Strello sort of pulled out of the normal racing line down the main straight so that they could continue to get the slipstream off the car in front. So it was quite amusing to see half the train kind of just be on the other side of the track.
At this point in the race, I mean, you are just tracking along. We're on board Lacio here as he tries to still find a way past Ibriami. That Mercedes top end definitely not managing to benefit him against that Aston Martin. Ibriami doing a great job at defending at the moment. I think that overall, looking at just the pace of all these drivers coming around, it's absolutely incredible to witness. I mean, we'll keep on harping on about it because it is something that you don't see often in online lobbies. Well, at RLM you do, but for a lot of viewers that are witnessing this kind of thing, they don't get to see this kind of close racing, and all the drivers really putting in their best efforts for the final round.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, like I say, just see what's how everyone is racing at the moment. It's just, like I said, a massive train at the moment of cars. It's, yeah, awesome to see. So I'm really looking forward to our 12-hour race as well. I mean, that is going to be absolutely epic. So we're going to be literally streaming that whole 12 hours race. We've got teams of 2, so we're going to be sort of mixing it up. So pretty much 3 hours with each team of streaming. So yeah, do check that out. That'll be on the 18th. We will be obviously streaming the Super Pole on the 11th as well. So do check that out on the 11th of April. So what's going on this April, actually. Lots of things going on this April. So hopefully get another driver, a real driver race involved in on Saturday the 4th as well. So we'll just do hopefully get a few more drivers signed up, and then yeah, 4th of April we'll have that one again. So if you haven't seen the last one, guys, that was Friday. So that was an absolute awesome turnout. We had 49 cars on track. So we had a lot of YouTubers like
sorry to cut in there.
Oh, yep.
But I've just seen Paolo Muia go really slow out of turn 9, and that allowed David Martinez to get right on to the back of him. Paolo Muia's gone wide into turn 10, and that has allowed David Martinez to get past the champion in Tier 1. So David Martinez makes up one of the places he lost. Paolo Muia down to 7th.
That's it, yeah. There's no reward at the moment, unfortunately. So, although this is pretty much for fun at the moment, hopefully once we start to get some partnerships and stuff, we will start to give away prizes and things like that. So, yeah, that's all to come. So, yeah, we're just seeing what's going to be around the corner for us with ACC and stuff.
Moya, after making that brave move and then kind of giving it back to Martinez, seems to have dropped off again, and that might open himself up to Prenta and Parker's attacks. Like we said, those trains of cars are just waiting to benefit of any of the battles that cars in front have. That, of course, costs drivers times. As we go to Ibriami, he's closing down on Jardia in that Porsche, and Jardia doing a great job just to hold down third position at the moment. So this is the battle for that final podium position. It's still an hour and 2 minutes left of racing. And like Ryan mentioned earlier, you would think this is the first lap of a race. It's really not. We've been racing for 30 minutes, or 28 minutes, should I say.
Yeah, absolutely. So, yeah, incredible stuff. I mean, I really do enjoy our races, what we do here. I mean, we really do put on a show. I mean, like I said, as for Friday's race, you know, we had the top 25 drivers out of 49 within 1 second of each other. I mean, you just can't even, you know, not in real life you even get that. I mean, that's just pretty impressive.
I think we had the whole grid was covered by 2.9 seconds, I believe it was, all the way from first down to 49th. Yeah.
So that's pretty
it was
impressive.
Unbelievable.
Can we also just have a shout out to Christian Veal in P13? I mean, he was the other Porsche that I did definitely not send commentators' curses over to, but he's having a great race, giving Donato a run for his money in that Ferrari in front. He's actually got 2 Ferraris to deal with to get some more manufacturer's points for my most favorite car in the world.
I was just about to say, if you want to perhaps direct your attention down to 16th place, Marcel Pfister and Vicky Thompson are currently battling over who's not going to be last today. So Vicky Thompson has caught up to Marcel Pfister, and of course these two know each other quite well. So, you know, a bit of personal rivalry going on there, but they're very close together. Unfortunately, Marcel Pfister about 20 seconds off Chris Hooker at the moment, so yeah, these two quite far down compared to the rest of the pack.
Yeah, I mean, as we saw earlier on, Vicky got took out by one of the Ferraris earlier, wasn't it? I believe it was.
It's
was obviously-
Gillian Sort.
Yeah, so that's why she's obviously down to last place at the moment, which is a shame to see. But hopefully, at least she's got someone to have a battle with rather than sort of racing by herself.
And you can also, I mean, you mentioned these trains of drivers just pulling away, and to be back on track after an incident and find someone to have a scrap with is definitely something to note.
Absolutely. So there you guys. You can see, guys, that massive train of cars there still. Everyone pretty close together for the first sort of half an hour of the race. So yeah, we've got another hour left to go. Everyone has to take a pit stop, manual pit stop. So there is no time when they have to take this. So we might get people sort of stopping in now and then going for a full tank for the next hour, or we might have people sort of around the 45-minute mark, or even people actually going for a full hour and then pitting at the 30-minute mark. So we have to see. I mean, we don't know. Like I said, there'll be so many different pit strategies going on today. With splash and dashes, people actually taking tyres. We've seen it through the other championships, or through the other rounds. Where the guys have actually done better by actually taking tyres and actually winning the races. So who knows?
I think in an hour 30-minute races, not taking tires becomes such a risky gamble for the end of the race that's really where things become interesting. Do you want to jump down to Veal and Rats down in 13th and 14th on stream?
Yeah,
I see that they're having some they're having some side-by-side action. Veal on the outside getting kind of bullied away by Rats, with the Ferraris going to secure the inside line, coming down into the next right-hander. Veal might lose out here to Hooky as well, as like we said, trying to find positions can also cost you positions getting off the racing line. Again, Veal looking to find something on Rats, but it looks like Rats has got the move done, and Veal will drop down the order by 1 place.
Wow, there we go. What's going on, as I said, across the grid at the moment. So nice to see plenty of action so far.
It's interesting you mentioned, obviously, the trade-off of not taking tyres in a 90-minute race, and it really is a gamble. I think it comes down to more, which tracks do you trust the tyres to last on compared to others, for example. I mean, we know that, some of the tyre wear is quite drastic at places like Zandvoort, for example, but, with the fact that we only did a 1-hour race at Zandvoort, you wouldn't be changing tyres. Somewhere like here at Catalonia, though, not too extreme on the tyres, but I think it would be quite risky to not take a tyre change as well, especially considering that when you come through the chicane, I mean, that third sector, there's so much time that can be lost in the third sector, so many slow, twisty corners where if you can't find the grip in the tyres, you are going to spin, and that's going to cost you way more than a tyre change in the long run.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
And as I said that, I've just seen Jardia make a mistake going through turn 3. Samir Rahimi's moved up into the podium places. Having said that, Jardia's going to have the inside line for turn 4, but Samir Rahimi much later on the brakes. He's still going to be on the outside line, though. This will give him the inside line for turn 5. The Porsche has better traction out of the corner, but Samir Rahimi, the inside line, is going to get the move done. Samir Rahimi up into the podium places.
Nice. So that's some very good racing there. Very good sportsmanship between Jardia and Samir there. So nice to see no sort of door-to-door bumping. So,
Look at Lacio and Martinez just behind him as well. I mean, just one little move being done has opened up the opportunity for Lacio and Martinez to start to enter that battleground as well. Martinez has been trying, Lacio and Martinez have been just kind of exchanging different racing lines and different positions just behind. So anything going on in front of them, they're just going to try and see if they can make it work out for them. Everybody fighting for more points, and every point counts.
Absolutely, yeah. So I'll just give you some track temperatures. We are at 33 degrees at the moment, so not too bad for Barcelona.
I have to say, it's a 33 degrees air temperature as well. That's quite hot for about 7:30 in the evening in Spain. Particularly this time of year, kind of seems like summer weather, to be honest. But yeah, track is very warm at the moment, in the low 30s. We're not expecting any rain, so no cause for panic just yet in regards to the weather. But interesting to touch on what you said there, George, when you were saying that, one slight move and it allows someone else to close up onto the back of you, they reckon that you can lose anywhere between half a second to 1 second overtaking another car. So, when the field is this tight together, you try and make one move, you're essentially opening the door up for 2 or 3 people behind you to, have a little bit of a look.
Yeah, because at the same time, you're trying to find that place, but you're going side by side for a lot of the time, which is forcing one of you off of the racing line every single time. So that really does make sense. And right now, with all these cars on track, lapping at the pace that they're doing, it just has really opened up so many on-track battles as we follow with Parenta coming down. You can just see 4 cars ahead of him, 5 cars on the screen for him. That really just opportunities for every driver as they lap around and continue. I feel like the higher track temperatures are going to really eat away at these tires. You mentioned Catalunya not really being maybe too hard on the tires, but I do think the higher temperature plus the pace that these guys are doing, plus the attacking and defending, is putting a lot of additional strain onto that poor set of rubbers.
Yes,
so I'm keen to see.
I just want to jump in there. So Martins has gone into the pits now. Muri has just popped into the pits as well. So they're taking a pit stop early. I didn't realise we actually had a time window for this. I thought it was actually open. So we actually got a 20-minute time window. So yes, this is going to be interesting now to see who's going to be jumping in at what times. But we've got 2 guys in the pits at the moment.
The interesting thing for David Martinez and Paulo Muya right now is that they are going to, well, hopefully for their sake, they're going to gain out big time. They're going to have fresh air. They're not going to be restricted by the pace of a car in front of them. So, they're hopefully going to gain some more time, obviously with clear air in comparison to those that are stuck in a train right now. So it's going to be interesting to see where those 2 come out once the pit stops are all finished. And of course, we have said that different pit strategies being played out at the moment can definitely yield very different results. And it's going to be interesting to see who takes tyres and who doesn't here.
Big fan of that early undercut from those 2 drivers, making that call to get out of that train, as you mentioned. I think that's a great strategic call, really, in a lobby like this. Very keen to see where they track out.
Yeah, so I'll leave the preview window open there for the pits, so if we do get other people jumping in the pits, you will see them coming in. So at the moment, everyone is out of the pits now. So 2 people have served their pits. So we've got Mura and Martins taking the pit stop early. So we've still got 18 minutes of the pit window opened.
Okay, so I can confirm that David Martinez and Paulo Muya both took tyres.
So yeah, so now we've got Samir in the pits, Locio's gone into the pits, Parker's in the pits, Donardo's gone into the pits. There's 4 people in the pits right now.
Yeah, so of course, very interesting. David Martinez and Paulo Muya taking tyres. They were stationary for at least 30 seconds. And of course, that is the amount of time that it takes to have a tyre change. So you wouldn't want to be stopped for any longer than necessary. So, of course, those 2 opting to take tyres, that's going to benefit them in the long run. They're not going to have that tyre drop-off as severe as they maybe would have had they not taken tyres. It's going to be interesting to see what the 4 people in the pit lane do right now. Samir, Locio, Parker, and Dinardo. It's going to be interesting. I think they're all going to be taking tyres, judging by how long they've been stationary at the moment. If you're only going for a splash and dash, you would already be leaving the pit lane at this point. So I think those 4 drivers opting to take tyres. Although, as I say that, James Parker is pulling away before Samir Ibrahimi, Luca Locio, and Raffaele Dinardo. So I do not believe that Parker has taken tyres. I think he's gone fuel only.
Now that is interesting, yes, because Locio is just about to leave now. So this is going to get very interesting. So as Parker decided to do a bit of a dirty one, just do a splash and dash and just hope for the best. So let's hope that doesn't... I'm not
sorry, just to cut in there again.
No, you guys need to be careful with your. You guys need to be careful with your curses, hey? You need to be careful with your curses.
Sorry to cut in again, but something I've just noticed: Samir Ibrahimi has lost out in all this. He's come out behind Dinardo and Luca Locio, so Samir Ibrahimi has had a longer stop than the likes of Locio and Dinardo. So the question now arises, did Dinardo and Lossio take tyres? That'll be something I'll have to review in the replay. So if you give me a minute or two, I will get back to you on that.
Yeah, so now we've got Patrick Selva in the pit, sorry. Prenter's in the pits and Strado's in the pits now. So Lossio is just coming out now. So Lossio has actually lost quite a bit.
Yeah, I wanted to say that Lossio seems to have something that didn't quite work out with him. So I'd love to know what's really gone on there. Talking about the changing of tires, also jumping into the pits early and changing tires versus someone who extends their stint to the end of the pit window and changes tires. You know, trying to get as much off of them before you get the fresh sets on means that for the end of the race, you're going to be able to push for an additional couple of laps as well. So I think there's so much strategy that goes into pit stops that a lot of people don't understand or appreciate just how much impact it can have for the end of the race. And yeah, something like what Parker's done with not taking tires, I think you need something like that. You're not going to win races by not taking risks or trying things out. And I think it comes down to that gamble with, you know what, if everyone else is taking tires and losing 30 seconds in the pits, maybe, just maybe, I can hold on to mine. I've been managing them a little bit better. And you try and extend it out. As we just watch on board with Chris Hooker as Hookie. I keep messing it up. Now it's my turn.
So do we.
I'm a South African, and as I explained, that's how I would have read it. So
yeah,
I apologize sometimes.
Exactly.
It's almost natural.
The English version is obviously we pronounce that as Hokey. So you know. Who's right? I mean, unfortunately, when I speak to Chris, he didn't care what we called it. So we just call it.
You know what, Chris doesn't really care what you call him as long as it's not horrible names, and he's lapping around in 4th place in a lobby with drivers taking down this pace. So a big shout out to him, and apologies from South Africa if I do occasionally butcher your surname, mate.
Yeah, okay, so I have some news from the pit lane.
Yes.
So, James Parker, I believe, has taken tyres. He was stationary for exactly 30 seconds. Luca Lossio and Raffaele Dinardo stationary for 45. Samir Ibrahimi stationary for 1 minute and 2 seconds.
So some of that is definitely damage, right? Those minute-long pit stops. It's not quite at that level where you've clicked to change your brakes by mistake. But maybe additional damage that needed to be repaired.
The interesting thing is, I'm not entirely sure where he's picked up that damage from then. Because we haven't seen anything, or at least I haven't seen anything, regarding Samir Ibrahimi in terms of, any damage he could have received. So it's going to be interesting to see.
Yeah, sorry, Ryan. So the leader is now in the pit. So Clary is now pitting now. So there's only a few more guys left to pit. So we've got 4 more guys out there ready to do their pit stops.
And it is starting to get quite a lot darker out on track. Looks like the sunlight is no longer going to benefit everyone. The night goggles and the vision starting to be a part of the factors in the race. And I always like those kind of changing conditions as things progress in ACC. And I'm keen to see if the track temperature does drop off at all and maybe cool down towards the end of the session. So interesting to see if anybody's prepared tire pressures and things for perhaps a temperature drop on their change. All of that definitely part of that strategy in the pit stop that viewers don't always get to see.
Yeah, very true. I mean, again, the temperatures are still 33 degrees ambient and track, so there's been no change.
It's hot.
So yeah, it's still very, very hot. So I don't think it's going to be dropping too much. Maybe only a couple of degrees, if that, for the next 45 minutes, looking at obviously the way it's going at the moment.
So Zakari is going to come out of the pits, just to let you know. He's come out in 6th place behind Fister and Thompson, ahead of him, who still, of course, have to do their pit stops as well as Rats. So Zakari has completed his pit stop. I didn't track to see what he had done. Hasn't had much screen time really, as he's just kind of run away with things up at the front. But now maybe we'll get some of his screen time back as he tries to make his way through the field. He's going to go for that inside line next to Fister side by side. Fister going quite wide.
Have I lost everything?
So Saklari and Fister still going side by side. Fister still just a tiny bit ahead as Saklari trying to make his way by. He does go on the inside. Fister gives way, and Saklari will make his way through. I think Fister just deciding that, you know what, it is someone that has done their mandatory stop. Fister might be even looking to go into the pits at the end of this lap, but did give way for Saklari to get through there and not hold him up too much. They were battling for position, but of course Fister still needing to do that mandatory stop.
Just in case anyone was not aware, Patrick Silver did get a drive-through penalty for speeding in the pit lane, and he has served that, and he is now down in 17th place, and he has actually come back into the pit lane for his mandatory pit stop. He is now leaving the pit lane, but what that does mean is that with Samir Brahimi's rather extended pit stop, which has cost him a lot of time, David Martinez is now, well, provisional second place once everyone comes in for their pit stops.
That's right, yeah. So thank you for the follow, guys. Really appreciate them. So do keep them coming. So we are streaming to both Twitch and YouTube today. So do bear with us if there is stutter and stuff. That is not our end. That will be actually Twitch's servers and stuff like that. So all I suggest is just turn the resolution down so you don't get that sort of buffering issue.
I don't want to be that guy, Simon and Ryan, but who is your money on for this race?
I thought it was Kevin Saklari. Now I think no, it was no. Actually, no. Sorry, I'm mistaken. Of course, it was. I mean, it was a Ferrari, wasn't it? So of course it's got to be Samuel Rat. So
I mean,
yeah, I think
it couldn't really have gone any worse for the predictions with 44 minutes to go. Things can still change, but I mean, if I was the betting man, I would say that your pounds are not as secure as you think they are.
Well, fortunately for me, I don't go gambling very often, so when I do lose, I don't lose big time. But yeah, it hasn't worked out very well for Patrick Silver. Of course, he still obviously has a pending investigation post-race for an incident with Luca Lossio, so that will hurt him even more. Just looking at now, Kevin Saklari stuck behind Vicky Thompson. Vicky Thompson peels off into the pit lane, but that has cost Kevin Saklari some time. Not that it's going to make much of a difference in the long term. But at the moment, I think it's Chris... Yeah, it is. Chris Hooker is the only driver yet to pit. He still has another 8 minutes before the pit window closes, though.
He's really holding off for this pit, isn't he? So, yeah, it's going to be interesting to see what happens, what can materialise from this.
I wonder if
he wants to capitalize on him being able to get that stream time as a #1 driver. I'm one of these guys as well. Pit late, take the lead, get some stream time, and then just peel into the pits. You know, it's always I like this strategy.
I was actually thinking about this for Chris Hooker at the moment. He was sitting 15th place before the pit stops. You know, quite a bit off where he wants to be, obviously. He's third in the championship at the moment. Quite off where he wants to be. And is he maybe thinking of going for a bit of a gamble? Is he maybe considering only going for a splash and dash? Maybe not take tyres? And that's why he's extending this stint as long as he can, so he can take as little fuel as possible come his pit stop?
Could well. I mean, I guess that would be down to... Unfortunately, we don't really have that information from Chris, so... If he does, this could be very interesting. I mean, this could potentially yield him a podium if he does actually just do a splash and dash and don't take tyres like everyone else. So
I mean, you have to remember, like, you know, not taking tyres will gain you however many seconds you're not spent, you know, sat in the pit lane waiting for the tyres to be changed. I mean, if he's going to take probably about, should we say, about 9 to 10 seconds of fuel. You know, then you can say he's going to gain 20 seconds essentially from the pit stop. And when you think about that, 20 seconds, with how close the pack has been, 20 seconds will put him well ahead of that train of cars. So, you know, depending on how he plays it, it could go very well. The one thing he's got to watch out for is how those tyres will degrade come the end of the race. He's got to be very careful of that.
Yeah, you want to manage that drop-off in lap time that you would get from a gamble like that. And you know, if you've got 14 laps and you're losing 10 or 2 seconds a lap on that, you know, you've almost then lost your gap.
Just want to jump in quickly because Jada is currently side by side into T1 and just needs to get the overtake done. So he does sound to have taken the position there off of Miria.
Yeah,
Yes,
and he was just very confident there on the inside line. Mir was just kind of forced into no other option than to stick wide, and Jardia just getting the work done nice and clean. That's always where you want to get moves done as quick as possible. Like you said, just following a car and looking for a gap can just cost you. And Jardia has got away from Muya, who's now going to be under attack from Strelo behind in that Aston Martin.
I believe it is, yes.
And of course, this is going to be the last race of the championship. It's also going to be the last time that Steve Strelo runs the number 1 for a while, because obviously that number, in Tier 1 at least, will be either reserved for the previous champion or the current champion, which will be Paulo Muya. But of course, Paulo Muya doesn't have to take the number 1. That's entirely down to him. But that'll be the last time that Steve Strelo runs that number for a while.
Yeah, thank you very much for the comment there. Really appreciate that. So yeah, we'd also do our best to obviously give you guys the best action we can pick up at the time. So yeah, lots going on still. So again, obviously the pit stops obviously mixed up a few of the train with the big train we had before the pit started happening. But as I said, usually this sort of last 20 minutes of the race, again everything just sort of comes back together, and then everyone's battling out again for position. So Chris Hokie still yet to do his pit stop, so this is going to be interesting to see what he actually decides to do, whether he actually just goes in for a splash and dash, or whether he actually takes tyres. So he's definitely leaving it to the very last moment. He's only got 4 minutes left of the pit window to do that. So Kristen Wheel currently on the back end of Donato as well, so we might get an overtake shortly if we can stay on this bumper there.
Yeah, and that Porsche, if it does get that slipstream, it does just seem to have some really great legs to get, alongside cars. And Bill doing a great job to just keep Donato in sight and keep himself in contention for any sort of opportunity that Donato gives him. But Donato going to go hard on the defense and force Bill to just wait a little bit. Bill going to go and try and commit to a bit of an inside line here. Going to go back wide again. Donato not giving Bill any opportunities at all. Bill going to have another look again, probably coming out of the exit of this right-hander before they get down onto this long straight, but not getting the exit that he needed. Donato doing a great job on the exit and not going to allow Bill that opportunity that he potentially wanted coming down into the left-hander.
So, of course, as we're verging, we're actually at 9 o'clock 9 o'clock in the evening local time here in Spain. We'll be finishing about 10:30, I believe, come the end of the race. It is starting to get very dark around here. Of course, everyone with the lights on, which is quite different to the start of the race, in which visibility was still very good. And of course, the lack of visibility is going to start to play a part with drivers' lap times. They're not going to be able to push as hard as they previously would because visibility is low. Your braking points are not going to be as easy to sight. And of course, with the darkness rolling in, the track temperature will start to be affected as well. So
Ryan, are you watching Donato and Veal still just scrapping it out here? I mean, they are just side by side again. Veal is a little car length, not even car,
a little bit of bump.
Quarter panel ahead, a little touch. Veal been sent off wide. Donato, he's not slowed down there as Veal. They've come into contact. Lacio now going to, like we said, you make a tiny mistake and look, suddenly Veal has Lacio to defend against. His rear view mirror filled up with that Mercedes, those Mercedes headlights. Veal not happy about things at all, flashing his lights at Donato. And now going to have to defend against a very aggressive Mercedes that has seen that a mistake has been made. And like I said, that mental side, drivers that do have contact or something that's gone on, you kind of lose that focus that you had. And now suddenly you got to get on the defensive.
Chris Uka in the pit lane, by the way. So he has finally come in. It's about 1 minute and 10 seconds left of the pit window. He is stationary as we speak. I think he is going to be taking tyres as the majority of the pack now go past him. They're going along the main straight at the moment. Krasuka car is dropped from the jacks and he is rolling again. So it's going to be interesting to see where he comes out and if he's gained any positions by extending that stint as long as he has.
Yeah, just see him coming out now, as you're seeing on the heli cam there in the bottom right. So that is Chris Hokie just coming out the pits there.
And in fact, he's only managed to jump Samir Ibrahimi, and the only reason he's managed to jump Samir Ibrahimi is obviously because Samir Ibrahimi had a 1 minute 2 second pit stop, obviously servicing some form of damage. But that has allowed Krasuka to jump him. So Krasuka up into 13th place at the moment. So not too bad for Chris. He's about 2.5 seconds off the back of Luca Lossier there.
So just want to say is we have dropped the temperature by 1 degree. So we're now 32 degrees ambient, 32 degrees track temperatures at the moment.
Yeah, and the light levels really start getting dark now. Sorry, go ahead, Joe.
No, sorry, that battle that we were still watching, we're talking about Veal, Lossio, and Hooker, and or Hookie, sorry again. Lossio did not manage to really capitalize on Veal, and now Veal is again kind of reeling in Donato. So they're trying again to get that battle for that 10th position spot. You know, top 10 is a victory in itself. You know, you always want to find yourself. Of course, you want to find yourself in the top 1. You know, you want to be first. But top 10 finishes, that's a place that you can. You know, you send a screenshot to your mates. You came top 10, and this will be a 3-way battle for that top 10 spot with 33 minutes to go. Is what more could you really want?
Yeah, exactly. So, you know, like I said, the next sort of 10-20 minutes, you know, I think things are really going to start to get mixed up. Everyone's going to start to get back close together again, as they usually do with our races. So, yeah, it could be quite a mix for the podium. So, depending on the revolution, about 3 seconds off the P2 there with Prencha and David Martin. So, yes, James Parker's only 5 attempts off of P3 as well. So, Jardia 2.5 seconds down from that. So yeah, I think things will start to materialise. I think as it gets darker, people will start to miss their braking points, and yeah, little mistakes will start to happen. So this is where things will start to get mixed up a bit.
I have to be honest, I'm going to have a bone to pick with James Parker after this race because of all his moaning of how awful the Aston Martin is. He's found himself in 4th place and having a look at Kieran Prensa for a podium.
Yeah,
right now.
I mean, looking, obviously, we've got 3 Astons up there now, and like I said, you know, these guys were literally moaning earlier on, saying, you know, they can't wait to hand these keys back to this car because the BOP in this car for this season has just been ridiculous. Yeah, I'm quite surprised. I'm surprised not to see all the Ferraris at the top. So,
well, you know what could also be a factor, right? Is that perhaps the Astons with that BOP side of things are able to extend their tires and their grip levels. So perhaps not being able to lap it as hard as you know, other guys are pushing their cars might be able to extend that grip, which can really count for a lot in an hour and 30-minute race.
Yeah, that's right. We've got Samuel Ratz right on the back end of Strelo at the moment as they come into T1. We've also got Christian Wu again closing up on Donato with 4 attempts off them, so we might have to jump over to them shortly. So we'll see what's happening there with the boards.
Yeah, Veal and Donato are definitely reeling, or Veal's reeling Donato in again. Of course, the previous battle between those 2 drivers happened to result in a tiny bit of contact, which forced Veal off the pace again. So we know that Veal definitely has a pace advantage on Donato to drop back and then climb his way right onto the back end of the Ferrari again. So I'm keen to see what battle we get in the next 2 or 3 laps between Donato and Veal.
Yes, just looking as well. Looks like Hokie is closing off on Lossio as well. So again, unfortunately, it always seems to happen in the races. And next minute we have literally 4 or 5 battles going on across the across the field. So lots of action starting to build up. So we'll just jump over quickly to Chris Hokie, because he's only 2 tenths off of Lossio at the moment. So we might have to jump back over to Samuel Ratz and Christian Veal as well. Again, these two guys are obviously battling at the same time. So I will just be flicking between them shortly.
And having said that, thinking about Chris Hooker's strategy, you know, going long into his stint, is that maybe what he'd planned to do, which is, you know, go long into your stint, use up your first set of tyres as much as you can, and then put on a new fresh set of tyres once you know that everyone in front of you has probably done about 15 minutes already on their tyres. So you know that their tyres are going to start to hit those levels of wear much quicker than yours are, and you're going to have a lot more grip than they will, you know, come the last half an hour of the race. So it could be a good strategy implemented there by Chris to make sure that he has much higher grip levels than everyone else come the last 30 minutes.
Yeah, I mean, to say he's right on the back end now, Lossio, so he's got the inside line. Looks like he's going to go side by side. He has got the inside line for the next turn. It looks like Chris was a little bit later on, a bit sooner on the brake, shall I say, but he has managed to get the overtake. Going back, where's it gone? So yeah, Chris Hokie has managed to get the overtake there quickly on Lossio, so nicely done there.
Yeah, Lossio is trying everything not. Yeah, Lossio was trying everything not to let him past, and just not really. I think Chris Hokie really did a great job on that corner where he braked a little bit earlier to just stabilize the car into that right-hander, and just got such drive out of there. Lossio kind of been left behind. A superb bit of driving coming out from the 998.
Absolutely, yeah. So nice to see that nice clean overtaking going on. So as we say that, it looks like the other battles that was going to look like materialise have sort of opened up a bit. So they're only about sort of 0.6 seconds between Samuel Ratz and Steve Strelo, Christian Veal and Donardo. About 6 tenths between them at the moment. So they've sort of spread open, but looks like Samuel Ratz has started to close the gap on again. So there are 4 tenths between these guys now. So again, we might be starting to see a few more battles about to break out.
I think also the end of the race battles also kind of comes because everybody's got, you know, different pit strategies. So drivers of different pace levels go into pits at different times and then find themselves out of position or finding position. So you always sort of tighten things up towards the last stint after the pit stops, and that really is such a great part about the pit stops in this kind of racing.
Yeah, that's it. So yeah, thanks for the follow there, guys. Pirate Boss, I don't know. I think it's just Friday night. Maybe I would say everyone's down the pubs or out for eating something to eat, but obviously everyone's on lockdown. Maybe something else is going on tonight. I don't know. So yeah, it's a shame to see. I mean, we still got 82 viewers across the 2 channels at the moment. It was over 100 a minute ago. So yeah, as I said, we are streaming to both YouTube and Twitch anyway. So that's where we obviously get our split viewers from. So I'm going to jump over quickly to... Oh, looks like Samuel Ratz has made a big mistake there, unfortunately. So, fortunately, it looks like he's lost a couple positions from that. So I'll jump over to Chris Hokie as well, because he's now on the back end of Christian Veal as well. So, looks like he might get an overtake done here as well with these fresh shoes on.
Yeah, I mean, this is where you start to really just see what a new set of tires can do for you. Chris Hokie just really making his way through the field of drivers, and Veal going to be the next victim under attack of that fresh set of rubbers. And yeah, Donardo, he's just in front of them too. So big potential for Chris Hokie here to maybe even take that 10th position before the end of the race with that new grip level added to his car.
That's correct, yeah. So we've got Christian Manu as well, currently closing up on Steve Strelo for P7, so we might jump over to them in a minute. But the battle is, this is the closest battle so far, 0.2 seconds between these guys now, so Chris is definitely starting to wheel him in, so looks like his pit strat does work because he's, like I said, he's got a fresher tyres on, so hopefully he can just maintain his pace and hopefully get these positions. So looks like we can get a couple of positions in the next sort of next 5 minutes or so if he plays his cards right.
And I mean, you can also just see how comfortable he feels in that car at this stage of the race. He's changing up his driving line. He's making sure that Veal sees that he is all over the back of him. And especially in the nighttime, another driver's lights in your rearview mirror can just be so daunting and off-putting that really having that confidence to just try different lines and throw the car into different places with your grip levels really, as you see him just getting tighter and tighter lap by lap, closing down on Veal and Donato up in front of him, and a really nice bit of driving coming out from Donato.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so just because I wonder how Christian Veal was going to be under pressure here, because again, he's going to be trying to get an overtake on Donato in front as well, obviously, as well as try and defend. I've seen this many a times where there's a freeway battle going on. Usually the car behind ends up taking both positions once the cars in front are battling positions. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see where this ends up. Just looking at the board, we have got Samuel Ratz closing up the gap. Christian Veal again is obviously right up on the back end of Donato in front. So we've got the freeway battle here, and a little bit further on we've got another battle. So we'll be jumping over to them shortly if they do start to close up a bit. Looks like they have, so we might have to jump over to them. I say that, but it looks like Chris Hokie is or Hooker. How do you pronounce his name? I don't know. I'm going to jump back over to him again because he is again right on the back end of Christian Veal. So yeah, we're going to have lots of action by the looks of it. So yeah, I mean our red line races just seems to be like this every single round or every single race that we've done through this championship. It's just absolutely epic. I mean it's obviously great to see. Go on.
Yeah, I mean, you normally kind of see an interesting start, a kind of spread out mid-sector and then an exciting end. And here at RLM, it's just exciting from the word go. There's just never been a huge gap in the pack of cars, and everybody just doing a great job to keep the racing exciting and giving us a great show for the end of the race.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, George, even our 6-hour race we did was exciting all the way through. So I'm really excited to see what our 12-hour race is going to do on the 18th. Especially we've got 50 cars on the grid. They're all going to be doing the Super Pole the week before. It's going to determine their positions, their start position. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to what's happening here. So it looks like Chris is starting to get really aggressive now. He's really wanting to get past Christian Veal. So doing everything he can to try to put the pressure on and try and get past, because he looks like he's so much faster at the moment with these new tyres.
Yeah, and I mean, that slipstream is like almost double benefiting him. He's tucked right into the back of Veal. He's tucked into Donato, and he really wants to get past, but Veal doing a great job of just parking that Porsche in the right place at the right time. And even though he's got the tire advantage, all these laps are costing him that brand new set of rubbers, and they're going to be felt wasted if he doesn't get the move done.
Absolutely, yeah. We're just literally just waiting for this moment.
And of course, for Raffaele Donato at least, this is almost a perfect scenario. Chris Hooker can't quite find a way past Christian Veal, and of course that's just allowing Raffaele Donato to, focus on his race at the moment. Christian Veal has definitely got his eyes in his mirrors. He's not looking forward anymore, that's for sure. And
100%, yeah.
That will benefit Donato in the long run, of course, because it's just more time that Donato has to not worry about the Porsche behind him, assuming he doesn't make a mistake.
I mean, we say that, and Donato just, he's still feeling the pressure of them. Hooker going to pull out to the outside line here. Is Veal going to have a look on? He's going to defend the inside line really hard. Yeah, Hooker going to be forced quite wide, but getting a nice enough exit that it doesn't compromise him too much. You're going to have to look for moves where you can, and you're going to have to try and see where you can do things, especially against defensive drivers like Christian Veal here. And yeah, he's going to have a look on the inside again. Veal getting hard on the brake. He's just making sure that inside line is covered from all angles.
And look at this as well. Look at how much time Christian Veal lost taking a defensive line into the chicane. It's lost him big time. He's dropped back to about just over half a second behind Raffaele Donato, so that's costing him big time. Chris Hooker in the slipstream, coming down into turn one, not going to have enough pace to go side by side. But what this definitely means is that Chris Hooker definitely putting so much pressure on Veal, and now this is benefiting Raffaele Donato. He's being able to stretch the gap now because Christian Veal is all eyes backwards.
Yeah, and again, defensive from Veal on that inside line. Hooker tries on the outside again, going to try and cut back on the inside, but that Porsche getting the traction down and managing to hold off another attack coming in from Chris Hooker's Aston Martin. And Donato, he's loving it, like you said. He's just extending that space between him and Veal. He's been giving him trouble for a long time until Chris Hooker entered into the fray.
Yeah, I mean, this is some great racing right here. So hopefully we do still see a good end to this. Hopefully Chris does manage to get the overtake here and then start to put pressure on Donato, and hopefully gets the pass there as well. So hopefully he can get himself in the top 10. But I mean, obviously with all this effort he's putting into at the moment, big mistake there. Unfortunately, he's lost a bit of time.
Bit of mistake coming out of turn 10. Of course, this is going to be the part of the track here in the third sector. This is where Chris Hooker's newer set of tyres will benefit him the most. He has so much traction out of these corners compared to the Ferrari and the Porsche. But of course, this is interesting now because Christian Veal has a bit of a break and he can focus forward for once.
I see, yeah. I'm just going to jump over quickly to Samuel Ratz and Chris Emmanuel, because it's been pretty much the same here with these guys as well. Literally bumper to bumper. So.
I don't mean to cut in, but there's going to be a bit of a chance going here. Christian Veal's going to try and go on the outside of Rafael Donato. He's going to get the move done before the first corner. Donato going defensive on the inside. Christian Veal switched back to the outside, and he managed to get the move done. Incredibly good driving there from Christian Veal. And now Donato's gone wide through turn 3. This is going to give Chris Hooker the inside line. Coming into turn 4, he's going to have the inside line. Rafael Donato put onto the outside. Chris Hooker's going to get the move done. He's going to put the Aston Martin into a difficult position to make sure that Donato cannot come back at him. And Chris Hooker's managed to capitalise on a big mistake from Donato.
Amazing.
So Donato drops 2 places
Simon,
in the space of 3 corners.
I did.
Simon, you talked about this. You're like the driver in front of a battle in a 3-way train. The driver in front loses out. And that's exactly what just happened.
See, that's the thing, you know. Once you start to see these races a lot, and it's, you know, it's pretty much what's happened throughout this whole championship. You know, this is, as soon as you see these 3-way battles, it's usually the guy that's in front and loses out a couple of positions, and like I said, you're just seeing that there for your own eyes. So, yeah, if you want your future told, you know, come to me.
Except if you guys are predicting race winners, right? I mean, we won't touch on that. I think you should jump to the battle for 7th, 8th, and 9th before we go into your guys' bad juju, because Strelu, Manu, and Rat are forming up into their own 3-way train, and it'll be interesting to see if we see a similar outcome coming out here, which would mean Rats would jump himself up into. Well, I mean, he would just jump himself up into more points, right?
Yes.
That's where you're trying to do things now.
So currently Samuel Ratz, where is he on the leaderboard?
He's 9th according to my timesheet. Oh, you mean in the overall
On the
leaderboard?
championship,
Yes,
he stands
Championship.
7th at the moment.
7th. Oh, there we go. Yeah, so he's 7th. So he's 138 points. Kevin Siclari with 142 points, so 4 points ahead. So it isn't going to be enough, unfortunately, to gain an extra position there.
No.
David Martins is currently P5 with 147 points. James Parker, P4 with 147 points. They're both basically joint 4th place there. So this is interesting. Where's James Parker at the moment? So James Parker's P4 in the race at the moment. So it looks like David Martins might actually end up getting might actually get P3 actually. Where's Chris Hooker at the moment? P11. So it looks like, yeah, David Martins might actually get the actual overall podium of the championship here, taking it off of Chris Hokie.
Simon, you have to go and look at what Chris Hokie's trying to do to Veal here. He's trying again round the outside to this left hand, and now I'm going to go for the cutback on the inside. Veal's made a mistake, and Donato now might also be able to try and find his position on Veal, but Chris Hooker, after just lap after lap behind that Porsche, gets the move done. A little mistake from Veal there, and Chris Hooker gets himself through.
Yeah, we can see obviously Christian Veal flashing his light there. He's not happy with that. He's starting to make more mistakes there as he went over the curb, the sausage curve there. So, yeah, I did call it earlier on. Like I said, you know, I was hoping Chris Hooker's going to get it done in the next 5 minutes, and he pretty much did. He managed to get past those 2 guys. So that's taken him into the top 10 there. But looking at Samuel Ratz, it looks like Samuel Ratz is about 10 seconds away. So the chances of him getting any more positions now in the next 16 minutes is going to be very slim unless something happens drastically a bit further on down the field. So we'll jump over to Samuel Ratz again because he is only a couple of attempts between him and Christian Manuel at the moment. There looks like another freeway battle going on here for P7 with Steve Strelo currently in P7.
Simon Prenter and Parker, the battle for P2 is starting to heat up the front of the order as well.
Yeah, we are side by side at the moment. We were side by side with Samuel Ratz and Christian Manu, so I will might have to jump over to that shortly.
Just on the maths for you quickly, gentlemen, that if obviously if James Parker wants to secure third place in the championship, he has to overtake David Martinez and hope that Chris Hooker doesn't finish 7th or higher.
Oh, what's happened to
Big
James Parker?
mistake, Parker. He
Let's
touched
just have a quick
Prenter
look.
coming down into that left-hander.
Yeah, just a little touch. Yeah, he took a bit too much curb there, Alex, of it, and just sent him straight round. That is very unfortunate to see that. So he's really going to be kicking himself for that now. He's down P6. He's lost 2 positions from that. Such a shame to see, but in a way, I guess we're glad we caught it. Samuel Ratz again back on the back end here of Christian Manu, so might get a change here. So again, the freeway battle going on between these guys with Steve Strado currently running the train. We actually got, I believe, that is actually James Parker now in front of him as well. So could end up being a 4-way train now, as we just see down the pit straight.
I mean, how many races do you see where a tiny little mistake like that at the end of an hour and 30 minutes racing means that you've now compromised another position to 3 drivers who've been battling it up behind you? So Parker might have to get quite defensive if those guys behind continue with their pressure. But he's still got time and space before they become too much of an issue.
Well, just a quick little update for you. What that means for the championship is that James Parker now needs to overtake Paulo Muya if he is to secure 3rd in the championship. Because as it stands, Chris Hooker will remain in 3rd, should I say?
Right,
that is
that's interesting. So what about with David Martinez? Because David Martinez is on the same points, 147, as James Parker, who's currently P4.
As it stands, David Martinez will be 3rd in the championship. For Chris Hooker to deny him that, Chris Hooker has to finish 7th. Nice.
So yeah, thanks for the follow there, guys. Really appreciate it. So we are streaming to both YouTube and Twitch tonight. So if one of the stream platforms isn't, if you're stuttering a bit, then it is down to their servers, unfortunately. So do jump over to either the YouTube or Twitch, depending on which one might be causing the problem. But yeah, stay tuned. We've still got 13 minutes left of the race. It's been a 90-minute race with a pit stop in the middle, and yeah, we're on for an absolute cracker so far. It's been absolutely non-stop overtakes, battling going on throughout the whole race so far, and it's only going to get better as we see there's quite a few battles materialising. So again, at the moment, it looks like we're going to have a real good battle for P7 at the moment, 3-way battle as we see in front of us here. Looks like James Parker has started to pull away, so we won't get that 4-way battle by the looks of it unless something else happens. But I don't want to do the commentator's curse as normal, but it looks like Samuel Ratz has literally sent it straight down the T1 there, so he's just side by side, sent one of the guys off of the track. There wasn't any contact, so he didn't actually gain the position. So
yeah, so Manu just kind of having to abort midway through that battle there. Ratz not going to benefit off it there too much. In fact, he's kind of lost out to how Manu had come out of that corner. But Ratz does seem to have the pace. We've seen him do this before. 12 minutes left of the race. Plenty of time to close it back up again and get another fighting shot at changing up, for that 7th place. It's always fun to trade in the last couple of laps. Absolutely. You know that the driver that you take it off of, you've got that mental advantage now when you go to the Discord after the race. You've just taken it from them after an hour and 30 minutes of racing. It's just such a great feeling.
Excellent, yeah, absolutely. So, yeah, guys, if you've only just tuned in now, this is actually the final round. This is the 10th round of this Season 2 Championship. We are running 5 tiers. So we have got Jesse, who's streaming Tier 2 tonight. So, Ryan, if you have a link, just chuck that in the chat there, please, so people can have a look to see what's going on there. It'd be nice to see what's going on with obviously the other guys in the other tiers. So yeah, it's only 2 tiers of the 5 will be streamed tonight, unfortunately. But yeah, this is obviously the final round. So yeah, if they're having the same battles we're having here at the moment, and then obviously it's going to be an absolute epic end to the race for everyone. So again, Christian Manu is still within 4 tenths of Steve Strelo here at the moment. So he has started to pull away from Samuel Ratz. So thanks for the follow there, guys. Really appreciate that.
Steve Strelu just doing a great job there as well. Manu not really finding a place to capitalize off any of the gains that he seems to be making. So Steve Strelu just doing well to hold on to P7. Manu trying to find and force an error, of course. That's exactly what you want to be doing. And trying to put them under pressure as much as possible. Strelu doing a great job to just hold him off for now.
Absolutely, yeah. So just to answer your comment there, Rolco and Racing, yes, we have 2 teams of commentators for the 12-hour race. We will be streaming the full 12 hours. So yes, it'll be myself, we've got George, we've got Ryan, we've got Jesse, we've got Fabian as well, yeah. So yeah, we've got 6 commentators. So yeah, we're going to be running in teams of 3, sorry, for those 12 hours. So yeah, so we're going to be on and off for 3 hours each across that period.
Simon, I have to stop you. Lossio and Ibriami in 13th and 14th, they are now starting to scrap things out as well. Ibriami tried to go around the outside of Lossio and lost out a little bit, but Lossio having to get very, very defensive again in this race.
That's it, yeah. So I mean, as we're saying this, we've got Donardo again closing up on wheel. We've got Samuel Ratz closing up on Manu for P8, and also closing up on Steve Strode for P7. So we've got a 3-way battle again for P7 right now. So as I call it again every time, these races, literally at the last moments, we just end up having all these battles right to the very end. Just makes it so exciting. So really great racing, and Jonas has been very clean as well. Really, nothing really to sort of go crying home about.
No, I mean there was that one incident with Silver, I think it was, but it's been so amazingly clean and great to watch that really the hour and a half has just flown on by. I'm sure for the drivers, they've been feeling the pressure. They're probably all sweating in their seats.
Yeah,
just
100%.
how much pressure they've had to bring to this race. But for us, it's just been a fantastic thing to spectate.
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, we were all absolutely buzzing for the 12-hour race. So, you know, like I said, we've got the Super Pole on the 11th. So the guys literally have one shot, one lap to set their best time, and then that will give them the grid order for that race. So yeah, it's going to be absolutely awesome. Going to be full live streaming as well. So any guys taking anyone out will be getting drive-through penalties for that. So, you know, we are very, very strict with our rules. So yes, we're going to be in for a very, very good race. Oh, what has happened? Oh, that's right. I ended up pushing the wrong button then thinking I need to kill the stream.
Okay, so we're still live.
We are still here, do not worry.
So yeah, Samir is very close on the back end again of Lossio. This is absolutely crazy. And again, obviously we've got Samuel Ratz going on as well with Christian Manu and Steve Trevor with P7. So I don't know if I think because it's dark, it's probably going to be hard for me to do the split camera at this point in time for you guys to be able to see. Unless you're watching this on a big TV or something, then obviously it's great. If you're watching it on a phone or a small tablet, then obviously it's not going to be that great for you to be able to see what's going on with the dual stream cameras we've got. So yeah, we'll do our best to try and capture all the action. I'm going to quickly jump over to Samuel Ratz because he is right on the back end here. So it looks like they are side by side. So this is where we're might get a 3-way battle going on, but it looks like Steve Strader still holds the position at the moment. They are side by side with Samuel Ratz, but it looks like Samuel Ratz has had to tuck in behind Christian Manu there.
Yeah, Ratz was just forced to go so wide coming through T1. I mean, almost going 3 cars wide, trying to get everybody involved into that corner, and Ratz not managing to capitalize on it just yet. But those are indicative of pace differences in drivers, especially coming into the last parts of the race. And seeing that kind of defensive driving having to be done by Manu means that he is feeling the heat. And we've talked about it before, that 3-way car battle is just always just incredible to watch because everybody's defending and trying to take positions of someone in that battle, and anybody could lose out.
Absolutely, yeah. So looks like these Ferraris have started to really come alive since the temperatures have started to drop a bit and we've gone into night time here. So we're down to 31 degrees ambient, 31 degrees track temps here. But yeah, definitely in for a 3-way battle here at the moment.
Oh, I don't mean if I'm doing side by side. Going on the inside of Christian Manu. He's going to have a look, but he's not quite going to have the pace to do it. Samuel Rat's
he was-
all over the back of his fellow Ferrari
Rats-
compatriot.
Yeah,
Amazing
Rats going on
stuff.
the inside there meant that he had to just jump onto those brakes and try and get that car under control before the left-hander. But a brilliant bit of car control, and to have a little look-see wherever you can is just amazing racing.
This is going to be interesting now, though, because Christian Manu and Samuel Rat are going to have a really good run on Steve Strello. We know the Aston Martin struggles in a straight line. The Ferrari's not excellent in a straight line itself, but it's going to have the slipstream. Christian Manu's going to pull out to the outside. He's going to go on the outside of turn one. There's slight contact between the Aston Martin and the Ferrari. Christian Manu goes off the track. He's gained the position by doing so. I'm not sure if he's going to maybe have to give that up.
And if he gives this up, right? If he gives this up, he's going to lose out to Rats when he gives it up, because Rats is still going to be driving hard. He didn't go off track, and he doesn't need to give everything back. So if Manu does hand this position back, which he should, I mean, they went 3 cars wide. He chose to abort again for the second time on these kind of battles that we've witnessed. He's possibly going to hand it back, and Rats is going to take through, will take the benefit of him having to lift off to let Strelu through.
I mean, there's no doubt about it that the Christian Manu definitely gained an advantage by going off track.
For
considering
sure.
He didn't lose a position. He did.
Samuel Rats is right on the
definitely
back
gained
end.
a
Sorry,
position.
guys. So Samuel Rats is literally almost side by side of Strado at the moment. And Samuel Rats has managed to get the overtake done.
And now
So
this presents a
perfectly.
difficult opportunity because Manu can't give the place back now without letting Rats through.
So Samir
Yeah,
is also closing up on Luciano as well at the moment, so we're just going to stick with them guys. Yeah, just keep us informed. Everything does happen with P7 at the moment with Strelo and Christian Manu while we stay with these guys at the moment on stream.
Have you watched just how many times Ibriami has tried to flash his lights at Lacio to try and indicate that he wants to try and get past, and Lacio is just like, you know what?
I don't mean to
One past me, mate.
if
You're gonna
Samuel
have to
Rats
do
is
it
going to have another go at
bravely.
Christian Manu coming down into turn one. They're going to be side by side. Samuel Rats is going to be on the outside. He's going to get the move done before turn one into the braking zone. The Samuel Rats up in front of Christian Manu.
Oh, this is getting
Now
absolutely mad.
Christian Manu now has the chance to give the place back to Strello. If he
Well,
doesn't,
guys,
that,
I
of
just
course,
wanna-
will incur an investigation.
Yeah, sorry, Ryan, just jump in there. Obviously, you've got Apollo Mura obviously closing up on Jarda as well for P4, and obviously going back to Donado, also closing up on Wheel as well. So, again, we've got so many battles going on. I did call this earlier on. You know, I mean, I can't obviously tell the future, and obviously I can also curse the drivers as well.
When we see a 3-way battle and we don't see the lead driver losing out 2 positions, it's going to be disappointing, you know, in the future. But like you predicted, Strelu losing out hard there. Rats doing such big work and such a big change up as you follow on Ibriami, still trying to find a way past Lacio. He's going to try again, trying to go for a bit of an undercut. He loses a lot of traction there, and that's going to cost Ibriami so much time. He flashes his lights in frustration. He should flash them at himself there, overdriving the car just a little bit too much. And Lacio doing fantastic work in that Mercedes to just hold him at bay.
This is absolutely awesome stuff. What I'm going to have to do is we've only got 2.5 minutes left. Is I'm going to have to set up the second stream for the P1 at the moment, because Kevin Scolari is the one that's actually leading this race, and because he's so far ahead of everyone else at the moment, he's not had much screen time unfortunately due to this. But I mean, we've had so many battles going on right now. Again, we've still got this battle going on between Samir, and also we've got the battle going on for P4 at the moment with Alumuria against Jardia in P4. So, yeah, lots going on at the moment. So it's very, very, very interesting, getting very hot for the next 3 minutes. Awesome.
Ibriami and Lacio are not going to put it to bed.
No,
They are
Samir's
not
just
going
made
to
a bit of a
Ibriami.
mistake, isn't he? But fortunately,
Yeah,
so,
it was so. It was commentator's curse. They were so close to getting through that chicane, and then Samir again just he's struggling with grip in that Aston. He's driven it absolutely to the edge of the grip limits, and yeah, kind of struggled along as you follow along with Mir there behind Jardier, who's also had a great job or a great race there to hold down 4th position. It feels like for pretty much the second from the second lap really. Jardier has been in P4.
Yeah, absolutely. So They are leaders on the final lap now, guys. So Kevin Safari is on the final
It
lap.
kind of just says a testament as well to Paolo Mui. I mean, obviously we haven't talked too much about him so far this race, but we've said this season average finish position of 4th place, and look where he is, verging on 4th place.
Yeah, I have to say is Chris Hokie is now closed off onto Steve Schrader and Chris Manu as well. So his pace has just been absolutely phenomenal. So obviously pitting so late on with having taken those tyres. So is he going to get the overtake done in the next lap? This is the big question.
I was also going to say, I mean, the night's conditions may be favouring him a little bit more. Not very. You don't
I have
see
to
lots
jump
of
in there
drivers
quickly
doing.
because Samir is side by side with Lossio at the moment. A little bit of contact between them, and
Big contact, and Samir's been turned around.
A little bit too aggressive there by the looks of it. He did try to force himself there past Lossio, so unfortunately, I say that as a bit of karma.
Yeah, there was. I mean, trying to overdrive a little bit too much there, and just not really working out there, and has been punished quite hard and dropped down the order there, or time wise.
Yeah, someone's saying that we don't pronounce hooky yet. Yes, I guess obviously it depends. Obviously, we're all from different places. England, you know, I mean, I pronounce that as hokey. Obviously, it's a German name. It's hockey. Yeah. So we do apologise about that.
We've got it.
Hockey.
Hockey.
Is it hockey? Hockey.
We'll be
Hockey. I don't know.
better.
I just don't know.
Chris Hooker. I'm going to be Fabian.
It doesn't matter.
Right,
He's
Chris
driven
Hooker.
amazingly. He's been amazing.
So again, we've still got the battles going on at the moment. I need to obviously get over to the leader quickly, because where is the leader right now? He is
Siclari going over the
finish line. He's just taken pole there. So David Martins, if you guys see any battles going on at the moment, do let me know if anything's going to be changing. So we want to be literally over the podium guys now. So David Martins is literally coming around the final corner to take P2.
Yeah, and a well-deserved
Manu,
P2 as well.
Felu,
from
and Hockey
Martinez.
are
P2.
still fighting it out.
Yeah, so Prenter now, I'm on Prenter for the minute to take P3. I see obviously in the distance there we've got Jardia and Palomira obviously batting out. So Prenter takes P3, Jardia takes P4. So close with Jardia and Palomira.
Wow.
So yeah, Parker again coming over the line to take P6. Samuel Ratz coming over to take P7. Christian Manu for P8. Steve Strado P9. Chris Hokie coming over the line for P10 there. Christian Wheel, which is about to come over the line for P11. Donardo taking P12 there. Lossio still batting out at the moment with Samir. Are we going to get this overtake done? There's a couple of corners left between them, but I just don't know if he's going to do it.
Now, once the Mercedes gets the exit now from the last corner, the Mercedes will have it done. The Aston Martin won't have the straight line speed, unfortunately, to make it up.
Absolutely.
No, absolutely.
So,
I mean,
there we go. Lossio for P14. Sorry. Ibrahimi for P14. Vicky comes over around the last corner here to take P15 in a minute. So yeah, go ahead, quick guys, while they just run over.
Yeah, I was just gonna say. I mean, Lossio, you can just see how much more pace he had from the driver pressure from behind him. I mean, sorry, Ibrahimi had just so much pressure coming in as well. Just Samir overdriving, made the mistake, caught back up, but not enough to get it done. And that's a battle right at the end of the race for the guys down the order.
Yeah, exactly. What a race, guys. That was absolutely awesome. Literally full 90 minutes of just non-stop action there. You know, obviously, again, with the pit stops, the pit strategies and stuff, you know, you do lose a bit of the trains that we had. I mean, the first half, absolutely awesome to see so many cars all lined up together. And obviously get split up with different people going in at different times to take their pits. But again, the second half, you know, I mean, that was just absolutely non-stop, full-on awesomeness. So yeah, thanks guys for coming along to the stream. It's been absolutely awesome. We're going to be back here again on Sunday 8 p.m. We have the Lamborghini STs so cup race, so that will be going on. I said it's on this Sunday, so do come and check that out. So we've got 2 splits running that day, so only 30 cars at Monza, because of these cars are a handful, and I don't fancy having 50 of those cars at Monza and having a massive T1 incident. So so yeah, that's that one there. And then obviously we got next Saturday we're looking to do another real driver race with obviously GT drivers and F1 drivers, actually F4 drivers we've got in there as well. So do check that out as well. Again, after that, April is going to be literally round packed. We've got the 12-hour race, we've got the Super Pole just before that to set the grid order, as I said before. Yeah, we've got so much packed on. But yeah, this is an absolute awesome to see the final of season 2 tonight. So this was round 10 of season 2. So as we can see from the results there, it looks like that David Martins would have actually got the actual overall podium. So Paolo Mira would have got P1 completely with obviously his win there. Steve Strader would have got P2 for the overall championship win as well. And then obviously David Martins would have got P3 for that one there, which then would have pushed James Parker from P4 down to P5, I believe. So yeah, there's the overall winners there, guys. So yeah, again, thanks a lot for coming along, and we will see you again on Sunday. So yeah, thank you, Ryan, and thank you, George.
Thanks, Simon. Thanks, Ryan. It was a great race. Always love to be a part of anything with RLM.